Chapter 411. In the detention center of the tribunal, there was a separate, luxurious suite. It was fully equipped with daily necessities. Every day, there would be people delivering sumptuous food. When they were bored, they could also watch the home theater and read books. Other than not being able to contact the outside world and communicate with others, life here was even more comfortable than staying in a hotel. However, Liu Ao was suffering. It had been 10 days. He had been brought to the tribunal for 10 days. According to the usual practice, he had already left the space and returned home to enjoy the hero's welcome. But until now, the tribunal had not released him. Liu Ao could not understand. Even if Princess Yu personally brought him in, with the relationship between the Liu family and the Yu family, Princess Yu would at most put on a show. The connections that should be made with the family's ability. Liu Ao, accompanied by a voice, the cell door was opened. Lucy, damn, why are you only here now? What's going on? How did Princess Yu suddenly find out? Lucy sat down on the sofa and asked, how the hell would I know? A few days ago, the person in charge of the space gate changed, and you didn't inform me? Damn, that batch of goods was detained by the people in the space gate. After I found out, I went to the space gate to ask for an explanation. Who knew that I would be so unlucky to meet Princess Yu? That batch of goods could not be hidden, and I was caught here. Are you stupid? Why'd you make a fuss when that batch of goods was detained? Don't you know that you should pretend that you don't know anything, and then find a scapegoat to say that he did it behind your back? How can you be so bad? I was just angry. A small division head of the space gate dared to seize the Liu family's things. When did our Liu family become so shameless? All right, let's not talk about this. Let's go back. Did you say anything to anyone? Are you stupid? Do you think I don't know the gravity of the situation? Don't worry, I didn't say a word. Suddenly, Liu Ao's body shook violently. He stared at Liu Si with wide eyes. He lowered his head stiffly. A long sword pierced his chest and came out from his back. You, Liu Ao, don't blame me. We have to learn from the Duanmu family's mistakes. Since you have already been implicated, I can't let you implicate the entire family. Don't worry, your girlfriend has already agreed to be with me. I will take good care of her for you. Third uncle and third aunt's family will take care of you in your old age. Just take it that you died in this beast tide. PFFF. Liu Ao was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood. His body fell straight to the ground. Chief! Suddenly, a voice called out from outside the door. Chief, the second princess is here. I'll go out and greet them. Yu Riyun and Wang Lan stood in the hall of the judicial hall. Yu Riyun crossed her arms, and her fingers trembled slightly. About 20 seconds later, Superintendent Li from the Supreme Court rushed over. Second Princess, you're here. Where's Liu Ao? How is your investigation going? How many spatial stones did the Liu family transport? Why are they stealing spatial stones? This. Superintendent Li instantly frowned, his head full of sweat. Don't tell me you haven't checked these past few days? Your Highness, please forgive us. You were the one who asked us to capture him, so we didn't dare to investigate further. We were waiting for you to punish us. I asked you to capture him. Liu Ao stole spatial stones, which is against the law. As the head of the judicial hall, you actually said such words? Yu Riyun was so angry that her liver hurt on the spot. Cousin Riyun. A gentle voice sounded from behind. Yu Riyun turned around coldly. The expression on her face froze for a moment. Then it turned cold again. Lu Lai, it's you. Wait, have we become so distant from each other? You don't even call me cousin? It depends on what you're here for. You should know what your Liu family did. Since I know about this matter, I will definitely investigate it to the end. If there's really something wrong with the Liu family, I hope you can turn yourself in before it's too late. Don't wait for me to find out, then it won't look good for everyone. Isn't it just Liu Ao stealing spatial stones? You don't need to investigate this matter. But this matter wasn't done by the Liu family. It was done by Liu Ao himself. Or rather, it was done by my third grandpa's people. After Liu Ao was arrested, third grandpa had been hiding it from my grandfather. If it weren't for the family shadow guard telling my grandfather that third grandpa had been running around recently, we would have been kept in the dark. After that, the shadow guard investigated. It turned out that the business of third grandpa's family was not well managed. They lost more than 30 billion yuan. In order to fill the hole, he took the risk. In the warehouse he secretly rented, we found a ton of spatial stones. Only a ton? Yu Ruiyun asked with a sneer. We found a ton. As for the rest, he said that he had already sold it. This matter is due to our mismanagement and negligence. Grandfather has ordered all the family's children who went out to return to the family to educate and investigate each branch. Where's Lueo? I want to take him away. Ruiyun, you should know that the Takashi Hoshi family has family law. When these words came out, Yu Ruiyun's face suddenly became gloomy. She stared coldly at Lu Lai for a long time. You're really ruthless. Wang Lan, let's go. Wang Lan was puzzled, but since he came to accompany Yu Ruiyun today, he didn't say much. He followed Yu Ruiyun out of the court and walked to the exit. Then the two came to the port and got on the bus to leave the space. This was Yu Ruiyun's impromptu idea. She went out to inform the family, to investigate the Lu family. Why didn't you ask me why you turned around and left? You should have your reasons, right? Wang said as he fastened his seatbelt. Lu Ao is dead. He was killed to silence him. Yu Ruiyun said faintly. What? Dead? Lu Lai killed him? Then why are you still leaving? Just take down Lu Lai's spiritual imprint. Wouldn't everything be clear if you imprint him? Did you hear him talk about the family law of the Takashi Hoshi family? 70 years ago, Mr. Lee launched a campaign to destroy the three old-fashioned families. Although he eventually broke the structure of the secular gentry, he didn't succeed in the Takashi Hoshi world. The Takashi Hoshi family controlled the most powerful Takashi Hoshi power at that time. Once they launched an attack, the Takashi Hoshi families in the country would counterattack and plunge the country into turmoil. Although they didn't destroy the Takashi Hoshi family at that time, they also agreed with the Takashi Hoshi family on the rules. The family law is the Takashi Hoshi family's right to punish the family's children. Once the family's children commit crimes and ruin the family's reputation, the family can punish them on their own after finding out. But the punishment must be heavier than the national law and must not be lightly forgiven. At that time, this rule was to limit the privileges of the Takashi Hoshi family. This rule has been very well continued to the present. But now, this rule was being used to silence people. Lu Lai used the family law privilege to kill Lu Ao. There's no problem with the national law. We can't use this reason to arrest him. But I know what you want to say. It's nothing more than, since we're sure that Lu Lai has a problem, why don't we secretly detain him and make a spiritual imprint on him? He. You're underestimating the Lu family too much, or you're underestimating the Takashi Hoshi family too much. The reason why the Duanmu family was caught off guard by you was because they underestimated you and you controlled Duanmu at the first moment. This time, Lu Lai must have come prepared. It's very likely that there's a technique engraved in his head. Making a spiritual imprint on him will give the Lu family something to use against him. Wang Lan sighed. It was indeed difficult to handle. Dear passengers, please pay attention. We're about to pass through the space passage. All passengers, please check if your seatbelt is fastened. There will be a serious shock later. Please be prepared, the reminder sounded. Wang Lan tightly grabbed the seatbelt. He didn't know where the entrance and exit of the East China Sea reclamation space was. Going in and out required going through a terrifying roller coaster ride. About 5 minutes later, the feeling of rolling in the waves came and engulfed Wang Lan in an instant. After an unknown amount of time, the amphibious vehicle finally stabilized. The scene outside the window was already undulating sea. The passing ships rose and fell on the surface of the water. We're finally out. My phone, I love you. A voice came from the side. That person quickly took out his phone. F***CK. It's out of battery. Who has a charger? Wang Lan also took out his phone. It was the same fate. Although the phone was turned off long ago, it had been left for too long. The battery was seriously low. It would probably fall asleep in a few minutes. Just as the screen lit up, more than a dozen missed calls jumped on the screen. 3 of them were from Jiang Xinyu. The rest were from CSCC. Yu Ruiyun, who was secretly peeking at Wang Lan's phone screen, slightly curled her lips, revealing a look of contempt. Hey man, The embarrassment of the phone running out of battery was nothing to Wang Lan. He was a man who had mastered the power transmission skill. An arc of electricity flashed between his fingers. The phone's battery was rapidly rising. As a Takashi Hoshi, he basically picked the kind of phone with the best battery. Because he often had to go to the alternate space, the battery was not good. Wang Lan's phone was a legendary one that charged for 1 minute and could talk for 2 hours. In less than 3 minutes, the phone was fully charged. He quickly unlocked it and dialed Jiang Sinyu's number. Hello? Sinyu, yes, I just came out of the alternate space. East China Sea Reclamation Space. Temporary mission. Danger? How could there be danger? This was an alternate space. For Takashi Hoshi above the galaxy realm, there was no danger. Yes. Really? You're going back. When? A month. That's quite long. Nothing. I just thought that I would only see you in a month. I can't wait. Yu Riyun, who was next to him, wanted to cover her ears and not listen. However, Wang Lan's voice seemed to have a magical power that drilled into her ears. Who said that Wang Lan was a block of wood? Didn't he know how to speak? Wasn't he speaking very well? Not only did he speak well, but he could also two-time behind your back. Thinking of this, Yu Riyun felt very uncomfortable. Although it was an accident with CSCC, at least they admitted to each other. If that's the case, I'm not even as good as CSCC. What am I? After a long time, Wang Lan hung up the phone. After leaving the alternate space, most of the people on the ship were talking on the phone. Wang Lan's actions did not seem to be special. However, Yu Riyun, who was next to him, was a little angry after being forced to eat dog food. Finished a phone call. Finished. Wang Lan did not understand Yu Riyun's meaning and casually replied, Didn't you have a missed call? Why didn't you call back? Are you afraid that I will tell on you? Suddenly, Wang Lan shuddered and her body jumped. She turned to look at Yu Riyun with a serious expression. Chapter 412. How did you know? Wang Lan's tone gave Yu Riyun a fright. Yu Riyun had never seen such a scary side of Wang Lan. Suddenly, she felt wronged. She turned her face away and looked out of the window. What's there not know? My uncle will investigate anyone who comes into contact with me. Do you think my uncle won't tell me? Wang Lan suddenly recalled what happened between him and CSCC. It seemed that Emperor Qing really knew. Emperor Qing even mentioned it at the river. Thinking of this, Wang Lan's back was soaked in cold sweat. He couldn't imagine what would happen if Jiang Sinyu knew about it. Break up? Hate him? But she would probably beat him up, then disappear and hide in a place where no one could find her. If Wang Lan and CSCC's relationship was dry wood and raging fire, then his relationship with Jiang Sinyu was a settled wine. Usually, it might be normal, but without her, it would be a lifetime of pain and regret. On the 18th of December, CSCC came to Shanghai. You didn't go out for 7 days. On the 25th of December, you ate, drank, and played in Shanghai. On the second day of the new year, CSCC came back to Sioux City. Every word Yu Riyun said was like a heavy hammer hitting Wang Lan's heart. Wang Lan didn't hear the bitterness in Yu Riyun's words. Because of the accident between you and CSCC, you chose to accept her. What about me? Although I succeeded in getting the dragon and phoenix bringing prosperity, I did it to save you. But you didn't know anything, Rune, don't say it. Yu Riyun coldly interrupted Wang Lan. I know what you want to say. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone. If Jiang Sinyu knows, it's definitely not because of me. Hearing Yu Riyun's words, Wang Lan's hanging heart finally relaxed. He leaned against the back of the chair, as if he had collapsed. I'm not that kind of between CSCC and me, I know. Yu Riyun murmured. That's why it said that the ones who get hurt are always honest people. If you're a little more heartless and a little more scumbag, you can totally pretend that nothing happened. Can we not talk about this topic? Wang Lan shook his head with a wry smile. Yu Riyun's words made his ears burn. If this wasn't considered a scumbag, then what was? Wang Lan had already admitted his feelings. After spending a few days with CSCC, Wang Lan had already understood himself. Don't find excuses. Don't say anything about being responsible. You're just a pervert. You just want to hug women. You just want CSCC and Jiang Sinyu at the same time. Therefore, when he heard that Jiang Xinyu actually classified him as an honest person in charge, Wang Lan couldn't bring himself to do it. What happened? Nothing. You're blushing. I feel refreshed. Dear passengers, the amphibious bus is about to dock. Passengers, please take your luggage and get off the bus in an orderly manner. Thank you for riding. With the announcement that the bus was about to dock, Wang Lan and Yu Ruiyun's conversation ended. They got off the bus one after the other. Yu Ruiyun was carrying her luggage while Wang Lan was clean. Wang Lan only wanted to run now. He felt awkward staying with Yu Ruiyun for even a second, so he quickly said, I'll go back first. See you at the port 3 days later. What do you mean? You don't want to see me in these 3 days? Yu Ruiyun's face suddenly changed. Didn't you say that you'll return to the exploration space 3 days later? Can I come and find you in these 3 days? No, I don't know how to talk. It's my honor to be at your beck and call. That's more like it. I'll go first. I still have to continue investigating the Liu family. I'll need your help then. No problem. It's just that if the Liu family wants to make things difficult for me, you have to help me. Don't worry, they won't dare. Looking at Wang Lan disappearing at the end, Yu Ruiyun sighed slightly. A black luxury car slowly stopped beside Yu Ruiyun. The door opened, and a silver-haired old man got off the car and opened the door. Miss, Uncle Cho. Miss is back. Oh, big sister is back. Is Ruojin also here? Young master is also here. Young master has grown a lot taller. Moreover, he has awakened the Takashi Hoshi talent. He will be a genius in the future. Knowing that her big sister was back, Yu Ruiyun's mood seemed to improve a lot. She took out her phone and clicked on Wang Lan's profile picture. Her fingers quickly pressed. Do you know why I promised to keep a secret for you? She hesitated slightly before sending the message and finally deleted it. I've already taken the car. Let me know when I get home. After sending the message, Yu Ruiyun turned her head and looked at the city scenery outside the window. Her eyes were blurred as she recalled the scene of going through life and death with Wang Lan. Because I don't want to lose you. What? Nothing. I'm thinking about something. Uncle Cho arranged for someone to secretly investigate the Liu family. What are they trying to do with the space stone? Also, do they have any relationship with the Duanmu family? Do they have a part in the danger I encountered in the 9-story pagoda? Got it. I'll go back and investigate immediately. Okay. Back home, Wang Lan took a comfortable hot bath. As for what Yu Ruiyun said about letting him know when he got home, please, I'm not a F***king kid. How can I let him know I'm safe? In the car, he didn't have a good chat with Jiang Xinyu and immediately made a call. The next day, Wang Lan slept until he woke up naturally. In his memory, it had been a long time since he woke up naturally. During the winter holidays, he didn't have those happy days with CSCC either. He would always be woken up by accidents and do morning exercises. He got up, brushed his teeth, washed his face, opened the fridge, and made breakfast. After breakfast, he picked up his phone and scrolled through short videos. Today was a happy day. Coordinates: Peng Lai, Southern Heavenly Gate Wonder. Cloud, Heavenly Gate, Kingdom of God reappears. After scrolling through a few videos, he actually saw a mirage called the Southern Heavenly Gate. Speaking of mirages, whether it was in his previous life or in this life, they were all wonders that people yearned for. Although science had already explained that mirages existed because of the refraction of light. However, there were still many things that were difficult to explain. For example, why would ancient buildings and ancient cities appear in mirages? Or, why would mirages never find the original scenery, regardless of whether it was ancient or modern buildings? Therefore, many people would say that mirages weren't simply refraction of light. It could also be a projection of time and space. However, mirages all had one thing in common, and that was coincidence. His appearance was a coincidence. Even in places where mirages often appeared, it was very rare for the same scene to appear. In this video, Wang Lan happened to see a streamer say that this was the 5th time he had captured the Southern Heavenly Gate. It was also the first time this year. This piqued Wang Lan's interest. Whether it was in his previous life or in this life, he was no stranger to the name Peng Lai. Many cities had changed their names. Only Peng Lai was still called Peng Lai. Moreover, it was called the Penglai Immortal Realm. Penglai was located on the coast of the Bohai Sea. Rumor had it that there were immortal islands floating in the sky in the Bohai Sea. Penglai was the border between the human and immortal worlds. Of course, this was a myth. However, it was true that Penglai was rich in mirages. Wang Lan opened the web page on his phone and searched for the Eastern Sea's Southern Heavenly Gate. Soon, a lot of notifications appeared on his phone screen. The most recent appearance of the Eastern Sea's Southern Heavenly Gate was at 3:20 on February 22nd, 5020. It lasted for 12 minutes. The Southern Heavenly Gate in the photo was majestic and vast. Although it was just a stone gate, there wasn't even a facade on the gate. However, the entire stone pillar was faintly visible. The dragon carvings on the stone pillar were faintly discernible. The moment he saw this photo, Wang Lan stood up abruptly and almost spilled the milk in front of him. This was because the stone gate in the photo was too similar. It was also too familiar. If it were someone else, they might not feel anything. The onlookers would only think that the stone gate in the mirage was just the same as the stone gates in some ancient towns. However, Wang Lan had been to the 9-story pagoda and seen the people from the Immortal Cloud sect. Although the Southern Heavenly Gate in the photo was different from the mountain gate of the Immortal Cloud sect, Wang Lan was still certain that this was the mountain gate of an ancient cultivation sect. This mirage, there's something wrong with it. Thinking of this, Wang Lan looked for the relevant video information even more seriously. However, as he sorted it out, Wang Lan's gaze became more and more strange. Especially when he stared at the time of the most recent mirage, he became more and more puzzled. Thump, 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 his phone rang. It was a call from Yurun. Hello, are you home? Yes. I'll be at your house right away. Wang Lan looked at the screen that showed that the other party had already hung up the phone, and he was dumbfounded. Although Wang Lan and Yu Riyun's relationship was already quite good, but had it already reached the point where they were so casual? In less than 5 minutes, Xiao AI reminded him that a guest had arrived. Knowing that it was Yu Riyun, Wang Lan did not even look at her as he asked Xiao AI to open the elevator door. Yu Riyun, who was dressed casually, walked out of the elevator and took off her hat. Do you want to change your shoes? No, it's up to you. Have you eaten? Wang Lan asked with half a fried dough stick in his hand. One look and I can tell that you just woke up, lazy pig. Yu Riyun sat casually on the sofa. The Liu family has already investigated thoroughly. Based on the travel records, they have stolen a large number of space stones from the 5 major open spaces in the past 3 years. However, we have searched all their warehouses, including the well-hidden warehouses. Although we found some illegal items, we did not find any space stones. Therefore, I suspect that the Liu family is also involved in what we encountered in the 9-story pagoda. Weren't the space stones in the 9-story pagoda provided by the Duanmu family? The accounts match, and the account from the country of ice and snow also match. But who knows that those space stones came from the Duanmu family? The Duanmu family itself also deals in space stones. However, the Liu family does not. If it has nothing to do with the Liu family, I really can't think of where they stole so many space stones. You came here just to tell me this? Tea or drink? Do you have coffee? Xiao AI coffee. Okay. The robot responded and turned to the kitchen. What are you looking at? Eastern Sea's Southern Sky Gate? What is this? A mirage that happened recently in the Eastern Sea. By the way, look at this Southern Sky Gate. Do you find it familiar? Yurian took the photo. It's too small. Don't you have a projector at home? Xiao AI, turn on the TV wall. TV wall. It was indeed a TV wall. If Wang Lan did not show it, Yurian would not have known that the background tiles on the TV wall in front of her were actually just a screensaver. When the TV wall lit up, the entire wall was a whole LCD screen. Although the Yu family was a top nouveau riche family, their family lifestyle was antique. Their ability to accept new things and new technology was not as strong as a nouveau riche family. Robots, smart home, nothing at all. In their family's words, if they could have a smart home and smart life, then wouldn't the thousands of servants in the family lose their jobs? Chapter 413. When Yu Ruiyun saw the enlarged picture, she stood up like Wang Lan. Is this the mountain gate of an ancient cultivation sect? Looks like we have the same opinion. But soon, Yu Ruiyun sat down dejectedly, a bitter smile on her face. So what if we know this is the mountain gate of a cultivation sect? The appearance of the mirage is extremely coincidental, and we never found the original scene. Who knows where this mountain gate is? No, but this mirage is very special. Wang Lan opened the post. The East Sea's Southern Sky Gate first appeared 5 years ago, but it has appeared frequently in the last 2 years. It appears almost every month or every 2 months. Looks like this immortal cultivation sect will be born soon. Born? Are you sure you're speaking human language? Is there a logical connection between the two? Those who have read online novels should have guessed that this kind of heaven and earth phenomenon appears frequently. Either a treasure is about to appear, or an ancient sect is about to appear. What's an online novel? What's the basis of your speculation? Don't worry about that for now. There's something more terrible here. Do you still remember the first time we saw those 3 giant beasts appear? It should be the 7th day after we entered the reclaimed space. We arrived at the forgetful river valley in 2 days, and the remaining 5 days were very boring. On the 5th day, we encountered the 97th group in the big grass valley. It should be on the 22nd of February, right? Wang Lan said, opening a picture. Look at the time it was taken. On the 22nd of February at 3:27 in the afternoon. That's right. Although there's a difference in time perception in the reclaimed space, we've only been there for a few days, and the difference isn't that big. Then, can you find out the exact time when the beast tide occurred in the reclaimed space of the EC? This is no problem. Yu Ruiyun picked up the phone and dialed. After she finished speaking, she put down the phone, and her eyes flashed with curiosity. You're guessing that the appearance of the giant beasts in the East Sea's alternate space is related to the Southern Sky Gate? The reclaimed space of the East Sea is definitely special, and the appearance of the Eastern Sea Southern Sky Gate is also very special. 2 special events that happened so close to each other coincidentally happened on the same day. It's easy to speculate that the two have an inexplicable connection. Very easy? Yu Ruiyun shook her head with a wry smile. Sorry, I can't tell. Maybe I'm a fool. Logically speaking, a strange phenomenon must be accompanied by more strange phenomena. If 2 strange phenomena occurred at the same place at the same time, there must be a connection between the two. And do you remember how the Academy of Sciences explained the sudden appearance of the giant beasts? They came from the same alternate dimension. Normally, the appearance of an alternate dimension would be devoured and fused with the giant space in close proximity. However, the space where the giant beasts were in didn't have any. That space was like a fixed space. For example, the 9-story pagoda. In that case, how did those exotic beasts come from the fixed space to the open space? Although the Academy of Sciences hasn't given an answer, the answer is obvious. What answer? Didn't you also study alternate dimension theory? Don't tell me you can't think of it. Looking at Wang Lan's astonished expression, Yu Ruiyun really wanted to slap him. So what if you're a straight-A student? Could a student look down on others so unscrupulously? I'm only studying alternate dimension theory, okay? Do you think I can compare to the big shots of the Academy of Sciences? Fixed space is torn apart, Wang Lan said solemnly. After coming out of the 9-story pagoda, I went to look through the information and consulted the relevant professors at Genhua University. A fixed space is a sealed and powerful space. This kind of space is usually not opened and is fixed in a certain place. The 9 spaces of the 9-story pagoda are fixed spaces. The way to enter the 9-story pagoda is through the pagoda door. However, the 9-story pagoda is a space after all. If a powerful force tears the space and breaks the 9-story pagoda, the exotic beasts in the 9-story pagoda will run out. When we went from the 4th floor to the 7th floor, we didn't use the conventional passage. The space-time turbulence triggered by the spatial stone was actually a spatial tear. Because the fixed space was torn apart, the giant exotic beasts entered the open space in the East Sea. Originally, I didn't know where the fixed space was. However, When I saw the East Sea Southern Sky Gate, I suddenly realized that the space might be where the Eastern Sea's Southern Sky Gate is. Hearing this, if Yuriyun still didn't understand, then all her years of learning would have been in vain. On the 7th floor of the 9-story pagoda, there was the immortal Cloud Gate, and there were countless powerful and terrifying exotic beasts inside. If the Eastern Sea Southern Sky Gate was an ancient sect like the immortal Cloud Gate, it was reasonable for there to be giant exotic beasts in the space it was in. It's just that I don't know if the Southern Sky Gate's frequent appearance is a natural phenomenon or man-made. However, the reason is not important. The result is the same. Above the East Sea, there's a fixed alternate dimension with an ancient cultivation sect in the space. That's enough. The moment Wang Lan's voice fell, Yuriyun's phone suddenly rang. "Hello, it's me." "Okay, send it to my Penguin account." After hanging up, Yuriyun opened her phone. "You have printing equipment at home, right?" The time record of the beast tide in the open space in the EC has been sorted out. Of course, you can send it to me. Soon, a piece of A3 paper was printed. It recorded in detail the time, scale, and other detailed data of the beast tide in the open space in the EC over the past 2 years. However, these data were not important. What was important was the time when it happened. Wang Lan quickly opened the post that he had sorted out before to match the time. Soon, Wang Lan's face showed a smile of getting the answer. "Yun, look, in the past 2 years, the Southern Sky Gate has frequently appeared, and the alternate dimension has also been poor. The time of the Beast Tide riots is almost the same. This confirms my conjecture." Yuriyun suddenly looked at Wang Lan in a daze. She had never looked so serious before. "What's wrong? Why are you looking at me like that?" "I suddenly feel inferior." The word inferior came out of Yuriyun's mouth. This was unimaginable. As the second princess of the Jade State's royal family, she was destined to be a noble from the moment she was born. How could she feel inferior? Whether it was her background or her talent, she was unparalleled in her generation. Perhaps God also felt that Yuriyun was too perfect, so he left some flaws in her perfection. Yuriyun did not have a soul-stirring appearance. In terms of appearance, Jiang Xinyu was much more beautiful than Yuriyun. Even Xiexixi was more beautiful than Yuriyun. However, Jiang Xinyu and Xiexixi were top beauties. Although Yuriyun was not soul-stirring, she was definitely not ugly. Coupled with the enhancement of her temperament, she was still a girl who could make people's hearts beat at first sight. Therefore, it was impossible for her to feel inferior, no matter in what aspect. However, at this moment, she really felt inferior in front of Wang Lan. Because of Wang Lan's excellence, Yuriyun suddenly realized that she might not be worthy of him. "I can stubbornly believe that my talent is not inferior to yours. I can also stubbornly say that my strength is not inferior to yours. However, in other aspects, I feel that the gap between you and me is like a chasm. It has been 2 years since the Eastern Sea Wasteland reclamation space changed. So many people have been searching for the source of the change for 2 years, but to no avail. However, you, in such a short time, have analyzed the source and the reason so thoroughly. You even have a complete theory and evidence. What on earth are you thinking? How did you associate an ordinary mirage with the abnormality of the alternate space? Why can't others think of it? You don't have to feel inferior about this. You're not the only one who thinks this way. As for why others can't think of it, maybe they've been brainwashed? Anyway, I feel that it's quite easy to think of it. Let's not dwell on this. Let's go investigate. It's an ancient sect. Maybe we can find ancient cultivation methods. I'll contact my family. I'll make a trip to the Heavenly Sword Bureau." The two of them spoke almost at the same time, but their thoughts were completely different. Even if Yuriyun stood on the side of the country for the sake of righteousness, the first thing she thought of when she encountered a problem was still her family. The two of them left Phoenix Square. In the underground garage, Wang Lan saw Yuriyun's Huaxia sports car. Wang Lan remembered that Jiang Xinyu also had one of this model. Keep in touch and act together. Of course, although it had only been half a month, coming to the Heavenly Sword Bureau again felt like a lifetime ago. But what he said was not wrong. After all, Wasn't a trip to the reclaimed space equivalent to a trip to another world? At the front desk, Wang Lan asked the receptionist, "Is the director free? I have something urgent to report." "Colonel Wang Lan, please wait a moment. I'll call the secretarial department right away." Soon a reply came. Cheng Jianlong gave the green light to Wang Lan's visit. Entering Cheng Jianlong's office, Wang Lan took off his hat and saluted. Reporting to the director, Wang Lan has something important to report. "Speak." Recently, the mirage of the East China Sea's Southern Sky Gate has been spreading like wildfire. But I speculate that it's not a mirage, but a projection of a fixed alternate space. That Southern Sky Gate is not an ordinary building. It's the mountain gate of an ancient cultivation sect. And I also speculate that this fixed alternate space is related to the frequent appearance of giant beasts in the East China Sea in the past 2 years. I intend to investigate further, and I seek the director's approval. Hearing this, Cheng Jianlong stopped writing and looked at Wang Lan blankly. "I remember you just came out of the East China Sea space, right?" "Yes. You came out because I came out on a 3-day break. I just didn't expect to hear about the Southern Sky Gate when I came out. Coincidentally, I saw a similar mountain gate in the immortal cloud gate of the 9-story pagoda, so I recognize that the Southern Sky Gate is unusual." Cheng Jianlong was dumbfounded. How did this person's luck grow? "No, this is no longer luck, but destiny. You're indeed a mascot. You can find big things so casually. I approve your investigation of this matter. If you need manpower, tell me. The Yu family will also be involved in the investigation. Why don't you give me some experts? Otherwise, I'll lose my momentum if I don't have enough manpower." "Yu family? Why would the Yu family be involved?" "Because this matter was originally discovered by me and Yu Riyun together. After speculating the results, we agreed to follow up the investigation together." "Okay, I'll ask Ming Yi to arrange 2 independent teams for you." "Thank you, Director. If you need anything, just call me directly. This is my private phone number. Remember it." The independent teams had Yang Yang's team and Team A, a total of 8 people. Wang Lan's name was like thunder to the ears of the independent teams, especially Team S, because they had followed Wang Lan for a few days. They were sincerely convinced by Wang Lan and often praised Wang Lan in front of their comrades. Therefore, although Wang Lan was young and of the same rank as their captain, they were very fortunate to be led by Wang Lan. Everyone, whoosh, they stood at attention. Chapter 414. Everyone, don't be so reserved. Wang Lan calmed them down. "This time, we need to carry out a temporary investigation mission. We don't have any combat missions for now. Is everyone clear about the details of the mission?" "Commander, we only know that we need to investigate a fixed alternate dimension, but where and how to investigate. The higher-ups didn't say. They only said to listen to your orders. Our mission is to investigate a fixed alternate dimension, but I don't know the specific direction of the investigation. Once everyone is here, let's get on the car and meet up with Yu Run." They got on the car and left the Heavenly Sword Bureau. When they arrived at the Shanghai estuary, they saw more than a dozen luxury commercial vehicles lined up in a row, attracting countless people to watch and take photos. Compared to his 2 rough off-road vehicles, he suddenly had a feeling of wanting to throw them away. The difference was too big. Although the 2 off-road vehicles could be considered luxury cars in the eyes of ordinary people, but compared to the kind of cars that the Yu family drove, they couldn't be considered luxurious. When they got off the car, the 9 people, including Wang Lan, were all in black military uniforms. This lineup immediately caused a burst of exclamations around them. In terms of ostentation, the Heavenly Sword Bureau lost a little, but after getting off the car, Wang Lan and his team's elegance instantly overwhelmed the luxury car formation. Military uniforms were not something that could be worn by one person. "Wow, I love it, I love it." Not far away, a fashionable girl at the port took photos of Wang Lan and his team with her mobile phone and shouted excitedly. Her companions probably felt that the girl was too embarrassing and pulled her away. "So handsome. I've decided I'm going to marry Brother Soldier in the future. These young people are so energetic, but why are their military uniforms black?" Ignoring the noise around them, Wang Lan and his team went straight to Yu Ruyun's team. A car door slowly opened, and Yu Ruyun, dressed in a lady's suit, got off the car and closed the door. "You're here?" "Yes. Let's not delay, let's go." The group boarded Yu Ruyun's princess yacht and left the port for the East China Sea. If this was a yacht, Wang Lan felt that it was more like an oil tanker. It was 70 meters long, more than 300 square meters in area, and 3 floors were luxuriously decorated. This was a moving villa on the sea. This time, Yu Ruyun had brought over 20 people. 5 of them were at the Celestial Sea Realm, while the rest were all at the peak stage of the Celestial Sea Realm. Even if Yu Ruyun was the apple of the Yu family's eye, she wouldn't be able to mobilize more of the family's power. On Wang Lan's side, apart from Wang Lan, there were 2 Celestial Sea Realm cultivators, while the rest were all Celestial River Realm cultivators. This lineup was more than enough to support an open space, let alone investigate the location of a fixed space. The yacht shuttled back and forth on the sea at a speed of 70 kilometers per hour, but it was very stable. There was a little shaking, but there was absolutely no feeling of turbulence. This was all thanks to the pleasant weather today. It was a sunny day of 25 or 26 degrees, and the wind was calm. Wang Lan leaned against the railing of the yacht, admiring the rare beauty of the sea through his sunglasses. "Do you want a drink?" A voice suddenly interrupted Wang Lan's contemplation. Yu Ruyun, who had changed into a casual dress, came to Wang Lan's side with a bottle of red wine and 2 wine glasses. "I can't drink during official business," Wang Lan replied methodically. Yu Ruyun rolled her eyes at Wang Lan. "It's you who can't drink, right?" Wang Lan's alcohol tolerance wasn't a secret. Whether it was the Heavenly Sword Bureau or his circle of friends, everyone knew about it. It was just that it was rare for such a romantic opportunity to be in such a romantic environment, but Wang Lan spoiled the mood. It was really annoying. With the Yu family's ability, they should have already investigated something, right? Do they have an accurate target? Yu Ruyun poured herself a glass, raised the glass, and looked at the sea in the distance. She took a sip. "Didn't we find out that the Liu family stole the spatial stones in the open space? After that, we couldn't find the whereabouts of their spatial stones. We used the General Staff Department's ability, but we couldn't find anything. This only proves that the spatial stones they stole didn't leak out. So many spatial stones, where did they go? You suspect that the Southern Heavenly Gate appeared with spatial stones? Isn't this the result of your deduction? Coincidentally, the Liu family has a tourism development project on the Sanxian Island in the East China Sea. They plan to build an immortal sect tourism area. This project was established 7 years ago and started 5 years ago. Until now, the Liu family has invested more than 7 billion. The location of the Sanxian Island, east of Penglai, 400 kilometers. So far, Wang Lan frowned. Doing a tourism project from such a long distance? No one would take a 400-kilometer boat ride, right? If the Southern Heavenly Gate incident didn't happen, no one would suspect this project. After all, the world doesn't lack stupid people with a lot of money. And as long as the advertisement is good, the project can still be executed. After all, it's an immortal sect tourism area. If it's not a remote place, it doesn't look like an immortal sect, right? At least the Taishan Divine Palace project in Taishan was done well. Then it's very likely to be that place. If it's related to the Liu family, then it's man-made. It's better if it's done by humans than by demons. I hope so. It'll take at least 17 hours to get there. Are you going to be in a daze outside during this time? Aren't you going to do something else to pass the time? As she spoke, Yu Ruyun looked at Wang Lan expectantly. She didn't even hesitate to tease him. That's true. Why don't we play Fight the Landlord? Yu Ruyun looked at Wang Lan blankly. At this moment, she really wanted to knock open Wang Lan's head to see what his brain was made of. How did he make Jiang Xinyu and Xie Sisi so obsessed? You don't know how? Then do you know how to play mahjong? Do you want to play mahjong? Get lost. Actually, don't look at the yacht parties and idol dramas, or the rich people who went out on yachts when they had nothing to do. But it was actually very boring after going out to sea. In a narrow space on the endless sea, sometimes there was no signal. The only entertainment they could think of was fishing. The special agents of the Heavenly Sword Bureau and the Takashi Hoshi of the Yu family split up and fished on both sides of the yacht to pass the time. Compared to them, Wang Lan played more excitedly and had more fun. This was the endless sea, and the sea was the territory of the sea demon. The gold Takashi Hoshi skill sea demon was like a ghost in the sea. After activating the Takashi Hoshi skill, Wang Lan's body was in a very strange state. The water within a 500-meter radius seemed to have some kind of strange connection with Wang Lan. In this state, Wang Lan didn't need to breathe or look. With a thought, he could appear hundreds of meters away and become one with the sea. He dived into the deep sea to pick up sea crawls or played hide-and-seek with the fish in the sea. Unknowingly, 17 hours passed. When the sun rose from the sea and the light broke through the dawn, Yuriyun's yacht approached the Three Immortal Island. When they were 3 kilometers away from the Three Immortal Island, 3 speedboats whizzed toward Yuriyun's yacht. When the LV family found the yacht, they naturally recognized the origin of this yacht. After all, there weren't many people in Jade State who could own a yacht of this level. Ruiyun, why are you here? LVC stood on the speedboat and looked up with a smile at Yuriyun, who was standing by the guardrail on the yacht. I'm on vacation, so I came to take a look at the Immortal Gate of the Three Immortal Island. Can I? Of course, no problem, but the Immortal Gate hasn't been built yet, right? When the Immortal Gate is built, I'll invite you to visit as soon as possible, okay? You've been building it for 7 years. Even if it hasn't been built, it should be almost done, right? It's okay. You can build it yourself. We're just visiting. Must you go? LVC suddenly stopped smiling and asked solemnly. Of course. Why? Are you trying to stop me? I don't dare. Grandpa said that if the second princess must go to the Three Immortal Island, then I'll personally lead the way. Second princess, please. There are many submerged reefs nearby. It won't be good if the yacht is damaged. As she spoke, she turned the speedboat and drove toward the Three Immortal Island not far away. Although the Three Immortal Island couldn't be found on the map, it didn't mean that it was really small. On the contrary, the Three Immortal Island was a very large island, equivalent to the size of a county in Sioux City. The Three Immortal Island was like a mountain floating on the water. The mountain peak was an irregular triangle, symmetrical with the reflection in the water. Looking from a distance, the scene was very beautiful. The shore of the Three Immortal Island was a gravel beach. Although it was rugged, it was full of ancient charm. Under the leadership of LVC, the group of people parked the yacht and went ashore. LVC thought that there were only Yuriyun and her party. But when she saw Wang Lan and his party in military uniforms, LVC's eyes flashed again. Only the Heavenly Sword Bureau had black military uniforms. Even the Heavenly Sword Bureau was involved. It seemed that they didn't come here with good intentions. LVC's heart sank when she saw Cho Bo in the crowd. Cho Bo's name was not well known, and he didn't have a place among the titled battle pet warriors in the Jade State. But LVC knew that Cho Bo was definitely a titled battle pet warrior, and he was one of the top ones among the titled battle pet warriors. Our construction site is behind a mountain. We'll reach it after crossing the canyon. The outside was surrounded by high mountains. From the outside, one could only see continuous towering mountains. However, after passing through the rugged canyon between the two mountains, the scene in front of them could be described as the end of the mountain and the end of the river. It turned out that there was a huge basin hidden in the outer mountains. In the basin, numerous construction machines were busy in full swing. The excavators carefully dug out the stones on the mountain and then loaded them into trucks to transport them away. Judging from your movements, it doesn't look like you're building. It looks more like an archaeological excavation. Yuriyun whispered to LVC. Wait until you see my grandpa. My grandpa will tell you. They arrived at the construction site. An old man walked over slowly with the help of a young girl. Wang Lan glanced over casually. The girl was staring at them with hostility. Her face was full of unhappiness. When he saw Wang Lan's gaze, he actually snorted coldly. Grandpa LV, hello. I'm Yun. I haven't seen you for a long time. Are you still healthy? Good, very good. The old man wore a kind smile, as if he were just an ordinary old man. But Wang Lan could feel the surging astral powers inside the old man. With such a strong astral power, the old man didn't look like a dying tree that needed someone to help him. Grandpa LV, you're so old. Why did you come all the way here to supervise the construction? Yuruiyun asked pointedly. I had no choice. The LV family has been looking for it for thousands of years. It was about to be found. I didn't trust the younger generation to keep an eye on it, so I had to look for it myself. Grandpa LV, what are you looking for? Isn't that what you're here for? Little girl, when did you learn to play dumb? Chapter 4:15. Come with me. Old man Lu was straightforward. Since he knew that he couldn't hide it, he might as well lay it all out. Wang Lan and the others were also bold. On his side, Uncle Cho was a titled expert, so he wasn't afraid of them. Moreover, this was the East Sea, the territory of the Jade State, not the alternate space. Why should he be afraid of the Lu family? They followed Old Man Lu to a part of the construction site. The outside was covered with colored steel plates. As they entered, Wang Lan felt as if he had arrived at an ancient tomb excavation site. Underneath the square pits were messy ruins. A group of people who looked like archaeologists were carefully brushing away the mud and digging. Some of the pits had already been excavated, revealing a corner of the city wall. The city wall had been sealed for thousands of years and had finally seen the light of day. The surface had been severely weathered and merged with the soil. What are you looking for? Was this place a city in the past? Yuruiyun asked doubtfully. No, this place used to be an ancient cultivation sect, Bright Sun Sword Pavilion, Old Man Lu said with his hands behind his back. Our Lu family inherited the legacy of an ancient cultivation sect. However, there are always people who think that we are just flattering ourselves. The Lu family has experienced ups and downs for 3,000 years. Is there any family in the Jade State that has lasted longer than our Lu family? No. Is there a need for our Lu family to flatter ourselves? Ha! 3,000 years ago was known as the Age of Chaos. At that time, the powerful Great Qin Empire had yet to rise. At that time, the cultivation sects were already fragmented and the mortal world was polluted. In order to not be implicated by the mortal world, the cultivation sects chose to live in seclusion to deal with the army of demons. Perhaps because of the seclusion of the cultivation sects, many mortals were obsessed with seeking immortality. There were also countless opportunistic people who claimed to be Qi cultivators and were taught spells by immortals to deceive the world. That year, the Central Plains was in chaos. In order to avoid the war, the young ancestor of the Lu family followed his hometown and wandered around. However, he was lucky. He didn't die in the war like many of his hometown. Instead, he accidentally fell into the water and accidentally entered an otherworldly paradise. Although my ancestor lost his way in the immortal realm and accidentally ate the immortal fruit, he coincidentally awakened the innate talent of Takashi Hoshi. However, even after activating the Takashi Hoshi innate skill, the ancestor was still immortal. When his life was in danger, a disciple of the Hao Yang Sword Pavilion came to the immortal land to pick herbs. Seeing how pitiful the ancestor was, he was brought into the Hao Yang Sword Pavilion. My ancestor was accepted as an outer disciple and cultivated in the Bright Sun Sword Pavilion for 10 years. Suddenly, one day, the Sword Garret received a warning from the Heavenly Court that the demons had opened a space-time tunnel and were about to attack. On that day, the disciples of the Sword Pavilion came out one after another. They went down the mountain with their swords to protect the common people. The ancestor was one of them. In the 3 years of war, the Central Plains had suffered great losses. The disciples of the Sword Garret had also suffered great casualties. Suddenly, one day, the ancestor received an order from the sect, ordering the disciple to immediately return to the sect to protect the sect. Because of the delay on the road, the ancestor was a few days late. However, when he wanted to rush back to the sect, the mountain gate was already shattered. Hidden in the void, he could no longer be found. Helpless, the ancestor continued to devote himself to the great cause of resisting the demons. Later on, he had a wife and children in the mortal world and established the Liu family. However, the Liu family could never forget the ancestors' final wish. For 3,000 years, the Liu family had been bitterly searching for the Bright Sun Sword Pavilion. Finally, we found it 5 years ago. The mountain gate of the Bright Sun Sword Pavilion is hidden in the void above us. This is the reason why you are excavating here. Since the Bright Sun Sword Pavilion is in the void above us, what are these ruins? The Bright Sun Sword Pavilion fell from the void and was destroyed. The ancestor said that when he arrived, the side hall fell from the void. The mountain gate was destroyed and the void was sealed. He could no longer enter the Bright Sun Sword Pavilion. Old Mr. Liu, Wang Lan took a step forward and bowed. You said that the Bright Sun Sword Pavilion received a warning from the Heavenly Court? This Heavenly Court is... The Heavenly Court is the Heavenly Court. Old Man Liu said in a deep voice. Because thousands of years have passed, the ancestors' original words have changed. I don't know what the ancestors' original words were, but our family has a stone tablet left behind by the ancestor. It has a history of 3,000 years. The stone tablet clearly recorded the Heavenly Court. From this, we can infer that the Bright Sun Sword Pavilion and the Heavenly Court are related. There should be another dimension above the cultivation sect. However, the ancestor was only an ordinary disciple back then, so he didn't know about this secret. Is that so? In order to open the Bright Sun Sword Pavilion in the void, you plan to use a large number of spatial stones to forcefully open the alternate space passage? All the spatial stones that you stole from the 5 great wastelands over the years were used here? Stolen spatial stones? Old Man Liu turned his face slightly, and his eyes gradually turned cold. This little brother is already a colonel at such a young age. The younger generation will surpass us in time. However, you can eat whatever you want, but you can't speak whatever you want. You said that the Liu family stole spatial stones? Do you have evidence? Or are you questioning me on behalf of the Heavenly Sword Bureau? Are you qualified to speak on behalf of the Heavenly Sword Bureau? If it were an ordinary person, they would have obediently shut up after being accused by these 2 words. However, it was a pity that Wang Lan was an ordinary person. I am representing the Heavenly Sword Bureau. As for evidence, Ruiyun, take out the evidence from your investigation. Grandpa Liu, if there is no conclusive evidence, we won't go to 3 Immortal Island. Grandpa Liu, it's best not to make our relationship too stiff. Yu Ruiyun said. Liu Yi looked at Yu Ruiyun in surprise, and then looked at Wang Lan. After a long time, he gently shook his head. Forgive this old man for being blind, but who is this young man? Grandpa, he is Wang Lan. Lu Si said from the side. Oh, so it's the son of Yan Emperor. No wonder. Even so, we didn't use spatial stones recklessly like those Takashi Hoshi families. We just wanted to find our ancestors' sect and find something that belonged to our Liu family. Is this illegal? Gunpowder is also prohibited, but mining is allowed, right? We didn't endanger the safety of the country or society. Isn't the Heavenly Sword Bureau a bit too broad? Because the Liu family misused spatial stones to open a fixed space, more than 50 giant beasts from the fixed space entered the East Sea Wasteland Reclamation Space, causing more than 20 beast tides in the past 2 years, causing the East Sea Wasteland Reclamation Team to suffer heavy casualties. This time, in order to eliminate the hidden dangers of the past 2 years, 13-star Sea Realm experts were sacrificed. You're telling me that you didn't cause any losses to the country? That you didn't pose a threat to society? Nonsense. If you want to condemn someone, you can always find a pretext. You forcibly opened a fixed space, causing it to be torn apart. This place is so close to the East Sea Wasteland Reclamation Space. The torn space is bridged with the East Sea Wasteland Reclamation Space, causing the ferocious beasts from the space to enter the East Sea Wasteland Reclamation Space. The reason and evidence are all clearly investigated. If you still want to quibble, then you're refusing to admit your guilt. Wang Lan fiercely took a step forward and shouted aggressively. What do you want? Liu Yi stared at Wang Lan without backing down and shouted word by word. Stop all operations on the 3 Immortals Island. All related people will return to Shanghai for investigation. When Wang Lan said this, the whole world became silent. Everyone in the Liu family looked at Wang Lan in a daze. They really didn't understand where Wang Lan, a brat who was still wet behind the ears, got the courage to say this. Liang Jingru didn't dare to give him this courage, did she? Was the world changing too fast, and the young people had become so arrogant? Or was it that the Liu family had been low-key for so long that people thought that the Liu family couldn't lift a knife? Liu Province's Liu family, Jade State's top Takashi Hoshi family, a very fierce and terrible kind. The heavy breathing was particularly clear in the deathly, silent environment. Suddenly, Liu laughed, and his laughter was somewhat crazy. So that's how it is. It seems that you all have taken a fancy to the bright Sunsore Pavilion. Our Liu family has been looking for something for 3,000 years, and just when we were about to get it, you came to pick the peach. Ha ha! Interesting, interesting. Good, very good. Liu slowly turned around and walked into the depths with his hands behind his back. Stop! This time, it was Yu Ruiyun who shouted. The moment Yu Ruiyun shouted, Chobo took action. In a flash, he had turned into a ray of light. But all of a sudden, a golden arm stretched out from the void and blocked Chobo's way. A middle-aged, burly man with a golden glow appeared in front of Chobo and confronted him. Liu Yifeng, aren't you exploring space in the northeast? Chobo asked solemnly. It seems that the Liu family is well prepared. Yu Ruiyun looked coldly at Liu Yi's back, who was still slowly walking away. You secretly called back the Liu family's titled battle pet warrior. Since Liu Yifeng is back, Liu Xiangyang should be back too, right? As Yu Ruiyun's voice fell, another figure appeared out of nowhere and stood next to Chobo. Chaofen, you are no match for the two of us. It would be bad if you hurt the second princess. Go back. Chobo, do it. Yu Ruiyun didn't waste time. She directly activated her astral power and sublimated it. Seeing that Yu Ruiyun had activated the Dragon Emperor form, Wang Lan didn't waste time either and directly activated the Phoenix form. A loud phoenix cry rose into the sky, and a deep dragon roar hovered in the air. The moment Wang Lan and Yu Ruiyun's astral power connected, a surge of momentum rushed into the sky and distorted the space. Liu Xiangyang's expression suddenly changed. He looked at Wang Lan and Yu Ruiyun in surprise. He had long heard that Yu Ruiyun was a once-in-a-lifetime talent, and that she was the first peerless genius to break through to the Star Sea realm before the age of 20. But didn't Yu Ruiyun just break through to the Star Sea realm? What was this momentum? A tidal battle pet warrior? Not only had she reached the strength of a tidal battle pet warrior, but she had even surpassed him, although he had activated the Dragon Emperor form. What kind of monsters were these two in front of him? If the realm of 5 emperors was a distant and unreachable dream, for these two, it was just a matter of eating and drinking. Liu Xiangyang's mentality collapsed. Liu Xiangyang was surprised, but Wang Lan and Yu Ruiyun didn't. In an instant, the two turned into colorful butterflies and flew. When they reappeared, they were already on Liu Xiangyang's left and right. 2 extremely hot rays of light instantly shot out. Boom! There was a loud explosion, like the crisp sound of a battle horn. The experts of the Liu family and the Yu family also moved in an instant. A fierce battle broke out within a second. Liu Yi's figure kept flashing. In the blink of an eye, he had arrived at the depths of the Three-Deity Island. In the depths of the Three-Deity Island, a steel fortress slowly opened. Inside the steel fortress, an unknown but powerful instrument slowly returned to its position under the swing of a precise instrument. How long until the coordinates are set? It'll be completed in 3 minutes. Activate immediately after it's completed. As soon as Liu Yi's voice fell, a loud noise in the distance turned into rolling wheels. Chapter 416. They really dare to make a move? Liu Yi's eyes flashed with a cold light as he murmured, Patriarch, who dares to cause trouble on the 3 immortal island? Brothers, follow me. They must have eaten a bear's heart and leopard's gall. A middle-aged man from the Liu family shouted sternly as he called for his men to gather quickly. No need. Yifeng and Xiangyang are there. Liu, he shouted. What? Yifeng and Xiangyang are back. They still dare to make a move? Lu Qi asked in shock. Father, who is it? That girl from the Yu family and the people from the Heavenly Sword Bureau. Last year, the Yu family and the Heavenly Sword Bureau worked together to destroy the Duanmu family. Now it's our Lu family's turn. The Duanmu family tried to assassinate Princess Yu, so they deserved it. What about us? But are we getting away? Lu Qi couldn't figure it out and asked agitatedly. Who did we offend? Humph. If you want to punish us, just find a reason. It's just that you took a fancy to the opportunity of the Hao Yang Sword Pavilion. The thing that our Lu family has been looking for 3,000 years is ours. Rumble, the fierce battle in the distance was getting more and more intense, and the sound was getting closer and closer. Hearing this loud sound, Lu Yi's face became even more gloomy. Even Lu Xiangyang and Lu Yifeng, two titled experts, couldn't stop them. Lu Yi still underestimated the determination of the Yu family. But because of this, Lu Yi was even more determined. As long as we get the inheritance of the Hao Yang Sword Pavilion, who in the world will dare to touch the Lu family? The Lu family's humiliation today was not because the Yu family was overbearing, but because the Lu family was too weak. If the Lu family was strong, so strong that no one dared to have any ideas, today's matter would not have happened. Have the spatial coordinates been determined? Yes, the coordinates have been determined. Activate the spatial stone immediately. Open the door. The group instantly left the metal fortress. As the button was activated, the instrument made a buzzing sound, and the crackling electric arc stimulated the spatial stone piled up like a mountain in the middle. 3 kilometers away from the spatial stone, Wang Lan and Yu Riyun were almost suppressing Lu Xiangyang. After the two of them connected their star powers, not only did they possess the power of the dragon and the phoenix, their Takashi Hoshi skills were also enhanced with special effects. Yu Riyun's Takashi Hoshi technique was still alright. Her regular Takashi Hoshi techniques were all S-rank Takashi Hoshi techniques. She hadn't had the time to comprehend the virtuous like water that she had obtained previously. However, Wang Lan's Takashi Hoshi skills were all platinum level. Platinum Takashi Hoshi techniques could be considered Super S rank. Although the difference between Super S rank Takashi Hoshi techniques was like heaven and earth, the power of Super S rank techniques was at least at the level of a sure kill Star Ocean tier. Once it was strengthened, it would be a sure kill weapon for titled battle pet warriors. This resulted in LV Xiangyang's current situation. Looking at the two children's combat experience, combat awareness, and even their realms, LV Xiangyang realized that they were far inferior. But the damage output was enough to kill a titled battle pet warrior with one strike. Sure kill techniques were all trump cards. They wouldn't be used unless it was absolutely necessary. The two of you used sure kill techniques like they were A-rank skills? Wasn't that a bit too much? At this moment, Lu Xiangyang was very envious of Lu Yifeng, who was at the side. In any case, you were able to fight back and forth with Uncle Cho, but he was being beaten like a dog by Wang Lan and Yu Riyun. Scorching flaming blade, Yu Riyun shouted. Her hands danced, and more than a dozen flaming blades condensed from extremely hot rays of light instantly shot out. If these flaming blades were just shot out, it would be fine. These flaming blades were still under the control of Yu Riyun's mental power and could be changed direction. Sword Blade Storm. Wang Lan instantly activated his Wind Snare and Nebulous Sword Dance. In an instant, the space around them was swallowed up by the Sword Blade Storm. LV Xiangyang's Huayang battle body had nowhere to hide and could only endure this wave of attacks. Puff, having just survived Wang Lan's Sword Blade Storm, Yu Riyun's scorching flaming blade instantly attacked. LV Xiangyang didn't even have time to dodge. With a boom, more than a dozen flaming blades hit his body. More than half of the Huayang battle body was destroyed in an instant. LV Xiangyang was fixed between the eyebrows of the Huayang battle body, and the expression on his face gradually became ferocious and perverted. Damn it, damn it, damn it. You actually forced me to this point. Go to hell, all of you. Faced with LV Xiangyang's sudden burst of terrifying aura and domain, LV Yifeng and Uncle Cho suddenly paused. Uncle Chow's eyes were about to burst. "LV Xiangyang, you dare? Xiangyang, don't be impulsive." LV Feng also roared in horror. Even if they fought fiercely, they still controlled their strength. Moreover, the purpose of the two from the LV family was already clear. They stopped all invaders and ensured that they wouldn't disturb the opening of the space behind them. As long as they found the bright Yang Sword Pavilion and got the inheritance, the LV family would win. What was a little grievance at this time? There would be plenty of opportunities to take revenge in the future. But if something happened to Yu Riyun here, then it would really be a matter of life and death. But at this moment, LV Xiangyang seemed to have no time to care about this. It was too sullen, too humiliating. LV Xiangyang had been smooth sailing for so many years. When had he ever suffered such grievances? Just when LV Xiangyang was about to disregard everything and deal with Wang Lan first, a cold voice suddenly sounded in his ear. "Void Amethyst, eye open." In an instant, as if a bucket of cold water was poured down from the top of his head, LV Xiangyang's anger was completely extinguished. Being locked on by Wang Lan's void amethyst eye. If it was a strange beast, it might only feel a trace of danger. But for an expert like LV Xiangyang, he could instantly understand the terrible consequences of being locked on by the void amethyst eye. It was a kind of locking on like the law of cause and effect. As long as it was locked on by me, there was no way to dodge or break free. In the next moment, Wang Lan's action made LV Xiangyang's soul almost leave his body. Starry sky, God arrow. This arrow will kill him, right? In an instant, LV Xiangyang felt as if he had fallen into an ice cellar. Rumble! Suddenly, a loud sound came from afar, and a brilliant white light turned into a laser and shot into the sky. Seeing this scene, the space god arrow that was about to shoot had no choice but to stop. Not good. The Liu family activated the spatial gem again. As soon as he finished speaking, Wang Lan and Yu Riyun instantly turned into hell butterflies, flapping their wings and appearing a few hundred meters behind LV Xiangyang in the blink of an eye. Being locked on by Wang Lan's space god arrow just now, LV Xiangyang was already scared out of his wits. He had been on guard against Wang Lan and Yu Riyun breaking through his defenses, but he had forgotten about it. By the time he reacted and wanted to stop them, Wang Lan and Yu Riyun had already broken through his defenses. LV Xiangyang hurriedly chased after them. LV Feng and Cho Bo also suddenly stopped fighting and instantly rushed to the back. However, the others didn't have such reaction speed. Li Yang and the Star Sea Realm experts of the Yu family were still defending against the Liu family's attacks. Above the sky, the white clouds twisted and a shapeless, distorted ripple appeared in the blue sky. Suddenly, a layer of dark clouds came from nowhere and gathered around the shapeless ripple. The shapeless ripple was revealed by the dark clouds, revealing a terrifying rotating cloud cluster. Above the dark clouds, a majestic mountain gate appeared, emitting a milky white light. This time, the mountain gate was bigger than any of the previous ones. Even the stone steps under the mountain gate and the distant mountains were faintly discernible above the clouds. Look, the southern heavenly gate. The southern heavenly gate has appeared again. Above the sea, the hard-working fishermen had just cast a huge net. When they raised their heads to wipe their sweat, they suddenly saw a layer of dark clouds above the eastern sky, covering the horizon as if it was another world. Above the dark clouds, the southern heavenly gate could be clearly seen. Friends watching the live broadcast, everyone quickly look, the southern heavenly gate has appeared again. This is the third time this month that the southern heavenly gate has appeared, and this time it is clearer than any of the previous times. If someone says that this is just an ordinary mirage again, I don't believe it. Look at this steep mountain peak. Look at this huge southern heavenly gate. Where in the world can there be such a magical building? Host, stop blabbering. The camera is shaking. At this moment, I have a question. Dare I ask the heavens? Are there immortals? This is definitely an immortal ruin. Don't stop me. I want to go and find a master. I want to open a mystic realm. I want to ride a coffin pulled by 9 dragons. At the same time, the headlines of various media outlets were all about the Southern Heavenly Gate, although the Southern Heavenly Gate had appeared many times already. However, the topic of the Southern Heavenly Gate was very popular. As the topic of the Southern Heavenly Gate became more popular, humans began to explore the question of whether there were immortals in the world. From the history of human evolution, the so-called myths and immortals were just the ancient Takashi Hoshi. However, how could the ancient Takashi Hoshi be able to move mountains, fill seas, chase stars, and seize the moon? If Niwa was just a Takashi Hoshi, how could he mend the heavens? If Hutu was just a Takashi Hoshi, how could he merge with the will of the earth? The ancient Takashi Hoshi was too powerful as an omnipotent god or an omnipotent immortal. Looking at the current Takashi Hoshi, they couldn't bear to look at it. The onlookers only thought of the Southern Heavenly Gate as a fantasy of the world of immortals. After analyzing it, many scholars and experts also felt that the Southern Heavenly Gate was more like an ancient sect left behind from ancient times. Although they didn't know that the so-called nature of the Southern Heavenly Gate had been confirmed by Wang Lan. In fact, the higher-ups of the Jade State had also received the latest information. Therefore, the scholars were excited as the ancient cultivation civilization was about to appear in the world. At this moment, in the reclaimed space of the East Sea, a cloud of black fog overflowed from the broken void, and a ferocious abyssal beast showed up in the thick fog. It roared at the sky, letting out a roar that shook the world. Evil beast! With a violent roar, the Qing emperor, who was dressed in black armor, seemed to have crossed the space and appeared above the abyssal beast. His palm turned into the sky and slammed toward the abyssal beast. Under the dark clouds of the Southern Heavenly Gate, a crack suddenly appeared in the distorted space. When the crack appeared, a terrifying suction force came from the crack. The metal fortress directly under the crack suddenly lost its gravity and slowly floated up into the sky. What's going on? Father, be careful. LV Chi hurried to LV Yi's side and supported him. Silly child, we have successfully opened the passage to the Bright Yang Sword Pavilion. We will soon be able to enter the Bright Yang Sword Pavilion, LV Yi said excitedly. The greed in his expression could no longer be concealed. 3,000 years of painstaking searching. Countless ancestors spent their entire lives to no avail. I am already in my twilight years, but I didn't expect the heavens to favor me so much that I would find the Bright Yang Sword Pavilion in my twilight years. After obtaining the ancient cultivation inheritance, my LV family will soar to a height of 90,000 miles and become the leader of the human race, commanding the heroes. Thinking of this scene, LV Yi's eyes filled with tears. His body slowly rose into the air and flew toward the crack. Behind him, two streams of light were rushing over. LV family, there are powerful beasts everywhere in the fixed space, and there are even many abyssal beasts. Opening the fixed space crack will definitely be a catastrophe for the human race. Do you want to destroy the human race? The moment Wang Lan's question rang out, she had already rushed to the bottom of the crack. Suddenly, her body was enveloped by an invisible force. Together with Yu Ryun, she was locked onto by the suction force of the crack and slowly rose into the sky. Chapter 417. The suction force produced by this space crack seemed to carry some kind of law. No matter how strong or powerful you were, you couldn't exert all your strength. Yu Ryun and Wang Lan frantically mobilized their astral powers, but their surging astral powers couldn't affect anything around them. Their bodies were still rising slowly, getting closer and closer to the space crack. Boom! Suddenly, an extremely hot ray of light shot towards the crack in the sky. The crack twisted slightly, and the extremely hot ray of light was instantly swallowed and disappeared without a trace. Yu Ruoyan frowned. Suddenly, purple light gushed out from her eyes. Don't! Wang Lan hurriedly stopped her. This space crack is strange. Don't be impulsive. Yu Ruoyan paused for a moment, and the purple light in her eyes disappeared. Once the Astral God arrow was released, Yu would no longer be able to fight. It would be fine if the space crack could be closed, but if it couldn't be closed and they entered a fixed space, she would be at the mercy of others. The astral god arrow was a desperate attack. If it didn't succeed, she would die without a doubt. Soon, Lu Xiangyang, Lu Yifeng, and Qiu Bo arrived at the bottom of the crack, and the three titled battle pet warriors were also sucked into the sky without any suspense. Lu Yi was the first to enter the void, followed by Lu Qi, and then the small fries around Lu Qi, Wang Lan, and Yurian entered the space crack one after another, and the feeling of muddle-headedness hit them instantly. Wang Lan hurriedly bit the tip of his tongue to restore his divine awareness as soon as possible. Before he could see his surroundings clearly, the feeling of weightlessness hit him. He and Yurian were already in midair, and they were falling rapidly. They instantly activated their light-heavy displacement. Their bodies suddenly stopped, and then they slowly floated down like dandelions. Their feet touched the ground, but their hearts couldn't be at ease. The surroundings were somewhat familiar. It was almost the same as when they entered the 7th floor of the 9th-floor pagoda. A dense forest and a green mountain in the distance. Where are the people from the Liu family? And Uncle Cho? Yuriyun asked nervously after landing. Although we entered from the same crack, we might have been teleported to different places. Look around and be alert. Before Wang Lan could finish his words, the earth suddenly shook. Her figure instantly dissipated and turned into a colorful butterfly, fluttering in the air. The moment she turned into a colorful butterfly, dozens of tentacles stretched out from under her feet and instantly pierced through the colorful butterfly. Because the nether butterfly was in between reality and illusion, the nether butterfly's state belonged to the category of incorporeal creatures. Therefore, these tentacles were unable to harm it in the slightest. The nether butterfly flapped its wings and instantly appeared 300 meters away. Wang Lan and Yu Riyun's figures appeared and looked at the tentacles that suddenly attacked them. The tentacles drilled out of the ground, and their shape seemed to have no fixed shape. It was like a green jelly-like liquid, but the liquid could solidify into any shape or substance. Gradually, the liquid completely drilled out of the ground, forming a strange creature that was 10 meters tall. The bloody mouth in the middle took up 1/3 of the size of its body. Large mouthfuls of mucus dripped down, as if they were drooling at Wang Lan and Xiao Luo. Attack! Wang Lan instantly shouted. Wang Lan used flame arts, while Yu Riyun used wind and dry ice. The roaring fire dragon that was formed by the fusion of their star powers was like a speeding high-speed train that crashed into the exotic beast fiercely. The exotic beast's body instantly changed shape and turned into a silver-white shield. The power of the Takashi Hoshi technique that the two of them used together was definitely beyond S-class, but it had no effect on the shield that the exotic beast had turned into. Neither the impact of the lava nor the high temperature of the fire element had any effect on the shield. This exotic beast was a little strong. Suddenly, a warning sign rose. Wang Lan and Yu Riyun turned into nether butterflies and fluttered in the air almost at the same time. It was also at this moment that a huge energy beam with a diameter of several meters shot out from behind the shield. In almost 0.01 seconds, it blasted through where Wang Lan was. The dense forest behind him was instantly destroyed and turned into ashes. When Wang Lan and Yu Riyun's figures appeared in midair, the dense forest behind them was blasted open in an instant, creating a huge chasm over 500 meters long. The power of this attack alone had already exceeded the Starsea realm. An exotic beast above the Starsea realm? Looks like the level of this space is comparable to the 7th floor. I'm afraid it's not just that. Suddenly, a strong sense of danger came from all directions. The two in the sky instantly had their backs against each other. In the area they were in, a few huge figures slowly stood up from the dense forest around them. The trees that were dozens of meters tall were actually only at the waist of these exotic beasts. The huge exotic beasts were all staring at the two frozen in the sky. The feeling of being surrounded by a pack of wolves was as if he was the plate of delicacies that was being served to them. Gulp! Although it was very embarrassing, Wang Lan still swallowed a mouthful of saliva. If the battle a few days ago in the East Sea was a group of them fighting against another group, then now it was a group of exotic beasts fighting against one of them. The problem was this dungeon might be full of these super exotic beasts. There was no retreat to speak of. Go down! Yu Ruoyun suddenly shouted. The two of them instantly turned into streaks of light and fell down. The instant the two of them left, a shock wave that was hard to see with the naked eye brushed past them. The corner of Wang Lan's clothes at the back was only grazed slightly, and it instantly turned into powder. Phoenix Constellation. With a shout, the Star Palace opened. The silver-white Phoenix Constellation Saint Garment instantly broke out of the Star Palace and immediately broke down and covered Wang Lan's body. It was finally time to test the new Phoenix Constellation Saint Garment's resistance. Although the Phoenix Constellation Saint Garment's metallic material was terrifyingly strong, Wang Lan wasn't confident. Which of these exotic beasts in front of him were ordinary? Wang Lan dared to pat his chest and say that he wouldn't be able to defeat any of these exotic beasts. Landing on the ground, that strange green exotic beast revealed a human-like mocking smile. It was as if it was telling the two of them, "Run, why aren't you running anymore? Why did you come back? Damn, it's definitely a demon. Rumble." A loud sound came from afar. Following the loud sound, a strong wave of star power swept over. In the distance, the Liu family might have also fought with the exotic beasts. And because of this loud sound, two of the exotic beasts surrounding Wang Lan were attracted over. But in the current situation, there wasn't much difference between two more and two less. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Wang Lan slapped the ground. Devil's Snare Flower. The emerald green vines instantly took root and sprouted. Under the fusion of the two star power, it grew into a vine forest in the blink of an eye. The green exotic beast on the opposite side seemed to think that it saw its own kind. Suddenly, its body liquefied and countless tentacles stretched out. Boom! The other party attacked. Wang Lan controlled the vines to receive it. The tentacles of both sides kept colliding and breaking, like 200-armed giants waving their fists crazily. Boom! The entire Devil's Snare Flower shook violently. The two exotic beasts behind rushed into the Devil's Snare Flower crazily. Yuryun was controlling the vines to intercept the two giant exotic beasts. Wang Lan bloom, Devil's Snare Flower. With the surge of Wang Lan's star power, countless flower buds suddenly bloomed. The colorful flowers filled the area of the Devil's Snare Flower, and the pollen instantly formed a thin mist. The real killer move of the Devil's Snare Flower wasn't the vine's entanglement attack, nor was it its ability to absorb star power. It was the pollen that could create illusions. The lethality of Takashi Hoshi's poison was indiscriminate. No matter how strong you were, if you didn't have poison resistance, it was only a matter of time before you were defeated by the Takashi Hoshi's poison. Soon, the two exotic beasts started to slow down. Under Yu Ryun's control, the vines successfully entangled them. A steady stream of star power was absorbed by the vines. At the same time, the pressure on Wang Lan's star power was reduced. Rumble, sounds of fighting came from afar. Soon, a group of people was running for their lives under the pursuit of several exotic beasts. Yu Ryun immediately saw the injured Uncle Cho in the crowd. "Uncle Cho, come here." Uncle Cho was already injured and covered in blood. Hearing Yu Ryun's call, his eyes lit up. He sped up and turned into a stream of light, rushing into the Devil's Snare Flower. "Come here, I'll treat you," Wang Lan hurriedly said. A life chain was connected to Uncle Cho, and Uncle Cho's injuries healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. "We'll go too," a Liu family disciple shouted in surprise. "No, that's the wood element Takashi Hoshi's skill. Who knows what the Yu family is going to do to us? We'll be walking right into their trap if we go in," Liu Yifeng hurriedly shouted. "But, seventh uncle, if we don't go, we'll all die." LV Yifeng's face revealed a difficult expression. In his mind, he recalled how LV Xiangyang was killed by the giant beast. A A titled battle pet warrior had died under the attack of the exotic beast's energy cannon. How frustrating. Why aren't you coming over? We can only survive if we work together. Uncle Cho shouted angrily when he saw that the Liu family was still hesitating. Patriarch? What do you think? Liu Yifeng asked Liu Yi. I didn't expect that the dignified Haoyang Sword Pavilion would be occupied by exotic beasts. The exotic beasts are ferocious. We should put aside our prejudices and work together. But we also have to be careful. Once we enter, we'll be meat on the chopping block. Yes, Liu Yifeng hurriedly responded. Leave 10 people behind to buy us time. We'll go and meet up with Princess Yu. Liu Xiangyang protected Liu Yi and rushed toward Wang Lan with a few direct descendants of the Liu family. How could those who were ordered to stay behind be willing? If not for the threat of Liu Yifeng's strength, they would have rebelled on the spot. Seeing Liu Yifeng escape with his people, they symbolically bombarded them and instantly turned to run. Boom! Several beams of light descended from the sky and bombarded the fleeing crowd. In the blink of an eye, the 10 Takashi Hoshi who stayed behind were swept by the exotic beast's energy cannon and were instantly annihilated. Then, a few slower Liu family juniors were also swept by the exotic beast's energy cannon. In the blink of an eye, the original team of dozens of people was reduced to a dozen or so. However, this was not the worst part. That strange green beast suddenly grew a head from behind its butt, and countless tentacles suddenly shot out to stab at the Liu family members. Evil beast, die! Liu Yifeng's hair fluttered wildly, and a hurricane blade shot out from his fingertips. Countless tentacles were instantly crushed by the blade and hit the exotic beast's face without changing its momentum. Its huge head instantly exploded, but this exotic beast was also strange. Its head was blown apart, but it was not affected at all. In an instant, it grew a new head, opened its huge mouth, and bombarded the crowd with an energy cannon. Boom! Those who were quick enough to dodge were saved, but those who were slow to react instantly died, without leaving a corpse behind. These were the elites of the Liu family's direct descendants. After entering this space, the Liu family's 3,000 years of accumulation was directly shattered. Liu had to think about a question now. Even if they got the inheritance of the Haoyang Sword Pavilion later, with the Liu family's current strength, could they defend it? Buzz! Suddenly, there was a buzzing sound. The swords in the hands of the Liu family members trembled violently, as if they were about to fall out of their hands. Chapter 4:18. Wang Lan and the people from the Liu family were not the only ones who were surprised by the phenomenon. Even the mutated beasts stopped their attacks. Wang Lan held the Zanpakuto tightly in his hand, his eyes filled with horror. The Zanpakuto was linked to Wang Lan's soul. It was the manifestation of the soul's concretization. It belonged to Wang Lan alone and could not be snatched away. But at this moment, the Zanpakuto seemed to be summoned by some existence and was faintly leaving him. But because the Zanpakuto was connected to Wang Lan's soul, this feeling was far less obvious than the Liu family's. Compared to Wang Lan and the others who were at a loss, the beasts seemed to understand what this meant. After a short moment of surprise, the beasts turned around and ran. They ran for their lives as if they would lose their lives if they were even a little slower. Whoosh! Suddenly, the sword in the Liu family's hands flew out and flew into the sky. In just a second, all the swords and sabers shattered in the air. What happened? A member of the Liu family asked with a face full of fear. Look! With one person's exclamation, everyone quickly turned around and looked in the direction he pointed. Above the sky, at the top of the clouds, countless white lights fell from the sky. These white lights were like meteors, goose feathers, and gorgeous moonlight. The white lights were getting closer and closer. When they saw these white lights clearly, everyone was scared out of their wits. Its sword aura. LV Feng's scream was broken. He was a titled battle pet warrior after all, and his cultivation was above the astral sea realm. But he still couldn't imagine the scene in front of him. The rain of swords all over the sky was all pure sword aura. The sword aura was endless, like a rainstorm falling from the sky. Each sword aura was 3 meters long and nearly half a meter wide. Each sword aura exuded a threatening aura of gold. The sword aura was still far away, but LVE Feng could feel the chilling, murderous aura from it. Even a legendary sword aura of death was just like this, right? Everyone watched all this in silence. They didn't need to hide or run, because in such a destructive attack, they had no way to escape. A hand gently grasped Wang Lan's hand. It was so forceful. Wang Lan lowered his head slightly. It was Yu Ruiyun's pale little hand. At this moment, everyone's heart was filled with despair. Boom, boom, boom. As the terrifying sword chi descended, Wang Lan saw that the huge diamond gorilla that had turned around to run away was struck by the sword chi. In an instant, countless sword chi exploded, blowing it into pieces. Wang Lan also saw that the green monster that he had been fighting against earlier had been reduced to dust by the sword chi. The dozen or so giant beasts that had attacked them earlier were annihilated by the first wave of sword rain. Even more giant beasts hiding in the dark were killed by the sword rain. There were even 3 giant abyssal beasts that had been hiding in the dark were dismembered by the sword chi like fish on a chopping board. However, none of these sword chis landed on the heads of Wang Lan and the others. The sword chi came quickly and left quickly. While everyone was still shocked by the massacre of the 10,000 swords, the sword chi all turned into streams of light and returned to the sky, flying east. After a long time, everyone came back to their senses. Wang Lan had removed the devil snare flower, and everyone was safe. That sword chi seemed to have come to rescue them. It's the Hao Yang Sword Pavilion. It must be the Hao Yang Sword Pavilion. The Hao Yang Sword Pavilion is still there. It's still there. Lu Yi shouted excitedly. Quick, follow the sword chi. Let's go find the sect. The Lu clan members left without looking back. Behind them, Wang Lan and the other 2 were slightly hesitant. Let's go, follow them, Yu Ruiyun said immediately. But the person who attacked is unfathomable. What if? Chobo said cautiously. Chobo, there's no what if. Whether the person who attacked us has good intentions or bad intentions, what can we do? Can we block a single strike from him? No. Isn't this the end? The 3 of them flashed and followed the sword chi to the east. All right, Chobo, where's Lu Xiangyang? Why don't I see him? He's dead, Chobo said calmly. There was no fluctuation in his tone, as if the person who died was not a titled expert, but an insignificant person. How'd he die? Yu Ruiyun asked in shock. He was killed by a mutated beast cannon. Fortunately, our people did not follow in, otherwise we would have suffered heavy casualties like the Lu family. After rushing for about 100 kilometers, a majestic mountain gate appeared in front of Wang Lan and the other 2. This mountain gate was the Southern Sky Gate that had appeared many times before. The name of the Southern Sky Gate was just a name that the netizens came up with. On the plaque above the mountain gate, the words Hao Yang Sword Pavilion were clearly engraved. The mountain gate had stood there for many years and was covered with mottled marks. Countless cracks also appeared on the 2 stone pillars with coiling dragons. Behind the mountain gate, there were endless stone steps. The people of the Lu family had long disappeared. Come, let's go up. Chobo took the lead and rushed up the stone steps. Just as he took a step, he seemed to be tripped by something and fell to the ground, rolling down the stone steps. Yu Ruiyun quickly helped Chobo up. Strange. Where did this strange wind come from? Chobo was puzzled. Just as he stepped on the stone steps, a strong gust of wind blew towards him, flipping him to the ground. Logically speaking, with Chobo's strength as a titled expert, even a Force 18 gale would not be able to do anything to him. However, this gust of wind was strange. It blew him down in an instant, and he only disappeared after rolling to the bottom of the stone steps. Chobo, there must be some kind of formation on the stone steps that restricts people from rushing up or flying. We have to walk up the stone steps step by step. Yu Ruiyun had experience in this. Back then, she carried Wang Lan and walked up 8,000 steps before reaching the Celestial Cloud sect. The 3 of them stepped on the stone steps again. As expected, as long as they walked up step by step, there was nothing strange. Perhaps because this mountain was more steep, the height of each stone step was much higher than the stone steps of the celestial cloud sect. After walking for about 1,000 steps, the three of them came to a platform. They could only continue going up after turning the corner. At the side of the platform was a cliff. In the cliff, fog was churning. Suddenly, Wang Lan stopped in his tracks. He came to the cliff and stared at the fog. Wang Lan, what are you looking at? Ruoyun, there seems to be something on the opposite cliff. It's blocked by the fog and I can't see clearly. There's something. At this moment, a gust of strong wind suddenly swept over. The strong wind blew the fog. The fog in the cliff was instantly swept up by the strong wind and rose into the sky. At the bottom of the cliff, it became crystal clear. When the three of them saw clearly what was at the bottom of the cliff, they were all stunned. A chill ran down their spines. The cliff was about 300 meters deep. At the bottom of the cliff, there should be a canyon formed together with the cliff on the opposite side. At the bottom of the canyon, there were piles of white bones. There were so many white bones that they almost filled the entire canyon. In the canyon, there was a mountain of skeletons. On the opposite cliff, there was indeed something. However, it was a huge human skeleton. Although the skeleton was in the shape of a human, it was definitely not human. There was no human in the world that was nearly 700 meters tall. Moreover, that skeleton was also very strange. Other than the skeleton that supported the various joints, there were many bone plates around the skeleton. This was especially so for the back of the huge head. The bone plates almost extended to the back of the waist. Through the skeleton, Wang Lan immediately imagined the original appearance of the skeleton's owner. This was a creature that walked independently. However, its body was covered with a layer of bone plates. It was like a warrior wearing armor. Suddenly, Wang Lan's eyes turned cold. Demons? Are there demons that big? Yu Ruiyun asked curiously. This skeleton should be a demon. However, I don't know if there are demons that big. Moreover, there's no mention of demons that don't have titans. There are so many demons' bones piled up here. There must be at least hundreds of thousands of them, right? There must have been a fierce battle here. The three of them continued forward. The further they went, the more obvious the traces of the battle became. Broken stone steps, obviously shattered rocks from a cliff, and skeletons lying on the stone steps. These skeletons were all human skeletons. Wang Lan had tried to collect them before. However, as long as he touched them lightly, the skeletons would turn into ashes and disappear. The three of them sneaked up a few thousand steps. After walking a total of 8,000 steps, the three of them arrived at the bright sun sword pavilion. The scene in front of them was still so familiar. It was exactly the same as the scene in the Immortal Cloud sect. However, the Immortal Cloud sect was better than the Bright Sun Sword Pavilion. At least the Immortal Cloud sect still had a main hall. However, the Bright Sun Sword Pavilion had nothing. Other than the ruins on the ground, there was nothing else. The people from the Liu family rushed into the ruins to search. However, what could they find with just the few of them? How could this be? How could this be? Senior who attacked just now, where are you? Please show yourself. My ancestor was once a disciple of the Bright Sun Sword Pavilion. My ancestor was the 132nd generation disciple of the Bright Sun Sword Pavilion, Liu Chun. Back then, my ancestor was ordered to go down the mountain. However, due to some matters, he was delayed for 3 days and was unable to return to the sect in time. My ancestor left behind an order that the descendants must find the sect and enter it. We have been searching for the sect for 3,000 years. Senior, please show yourself. However, no matter how much Liu Yi called out, the surroundings were dead silent. Wang Lan closed his eyes slightly and sensed the surroundings. Waves of star power rippled out. After a long time, Wang Lan slowly opened his eyes. No, it's not like the Immortal Cloud sect that was enveloped by an invisible artifact. Then, the sword chi just now was either someone or mountain protecting a ray. Boom! Suddenly, an earth-shattering sound came from afar. Everyone was stunned for a moment and instantly rushed towards the place where the sound came from. After walking for about 5 kilometers, they passed through the ruins and saw an independent mountain peak. The mountain peak was less than a kilometer away from here. At the peak of the mountain peak, there was a glowing array. Wang Lan and Yu Ruiyun instantly flew over. Those from the Lu family who had the ability to fly over the mountain peak also displayed their abilities. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In the blink of an eye, more than 10 people arrived at the mountain peak. There were less than 5 people left on the other side. At the edge of the mountain peak, Lu Yifeng vomited blood and fainted. Lu Yi hurriedly went forward to support Lu Yifeng. Yifeng, wake up. What's wrong with you? As Lu Yi shook him, Lu Yifeng slowly opened his eyes. Patriarch, I found the inheritance. Look, the sword floating above the altar is emitting a powerful aura. It should be the bright sun sword pavilion's divine artifact. I tried to take it away, but I didn't expect to suffer a backlash from the sword chi. I was seriously injured and fainted. The divine sword has a spirit, and the fated person can obtain it. Is that so? He looked at Lu Yifeng with a somewhat cold gaze. If not for the fact that Lu Yifeng was the only titled expert here, and that they had to rely on Lu Yifeng to protect the treasure, the fact that he tried to touch the bright sun sword pavilion's treasure was enough to execute him. Chapter 419. I got it. Lu Yu, treaty phone. Lu Yi said indifferently. A female Takashi Hoshi came to Lu Yi's side and pressed her palm on his chest. A hazy white light shone from Lu Yu's palm. This was the traditional medical Takashi Hoshi technique. When practiced to a high level, one could revive the dead. However, the consumption and efficiency were not as high as Wang Lan's. Lu Yi slowly stood up, while Wang Lan was sizing up the golden sword that was suspended vertically in the air. What Wang Lan cared about was not the golden sword, but the funnel-like bronze vessel below the sword. Lu Yi slowly walked towards the sword. When he was 3 meters away, he encountered an invisible barrier. It was as if there was a rubber wall blocking him from approaching. At this moment, Lu Yi, who seemed to be in his twilight years, did not look old at all. The astral power around him rippled, and his aura surged out. Feeling Lu Yi's aura, Cho Bo's face suddenly changed. He hurriedly moved to protect Yu Ruiyun and Wang Lan behind him and looked at Lu Yi in shock. You were actually a half-step astral soul. Xiao Zheng'an. Has it been so long that even you have forgotten about this old man? When this old man became famous, you were still in primary school. Back then, this old man was also one of the top Takashi Hoshi in Jade State. Although I was not titled, my strength was not below that. After I took over the Lu family, my reputation gradually faded. This old man has been silent in the Takashi Hoshi world for 40 years. Even you people who grew up listening to this old man's name think that this old man does not have the strength to truss a chicken? Facing Lu Yi's question, Cho Bo's face changed slightly. That's right. Back then, Lu Yi was also a peerless talent whose name shook sky blue. He had not been injured or fallen. He had only taken over the Lu family's patriarch and walked behind the scenes. Being unknown for 40 years did not mean that he had not achieved anything in those 40 years. At the same time, Cho Bo thought of many more things. How deep were the waters of the Takashi Hoshi family? This was especially true for the old Takashi Hoshi family. How terrifying was that? If Lu Yi was a half-step astral soul realm cultivator, how could there not be an old monster among the other old farts? What about Yu Zhangdong, Yu Changhen, and Yu Canghai? Could it be that they did not have the strength of the 5 emperors? Nangong family, Beihai family, Situ family, Sikong family, Sima family, Dongfang family. These top Takashi Hoshi families of Jade State don't have hidden powerful strength? Half a step into the astral soul realm. That was the pinnacle of the 5 emperors realm. Taking half a step forward would make you a cut above others. Taking a step forward would make you reach the heavens in a single bound. Along with Lu Yi's star power output, the invisible and transparent barrier in front of him was squeezed out of shape by a powerful force, and the floating long sword gradually trembled. Stop! All of a sudden, Wang Lan shouted in a stern voice. Lu erased his head slightly, his eyes disdainfully sweeping over Wang Lan. Although you're the son of a Yin emperor and have a noble status, young people should be able to judge the situation. This is a different space. Don't cause trouble. This old man disdains to bicker with a junior. If you don't know what's good for you, then don't blame this old man for bullying you. Don't think that you're so great just because you've been called a genius. If you want to be great, then wait until you reach the level of Yin Emperor. The current you, this old man can crush you to death at any time. You can't touch this sword. Wang Lan hurriedly shouted. Why? The key point is not the sword but the bronze vessel under it. The divine sword is used to suppress the vessel, so there must be something terrifying inside. Once the seal is broken, the consequences will be unimaginable. When Lu Yi had attacked just now, no one had noticed that the buzzing sound emitted by the sword was not directed at Lu Yi, but at the bronze vessel under it. Otherwise, with the power of the divine sword, Lu Yi would not be able to withstand a light sword chi. In order to find the bright Yang Sword Pavilion, our Lu family searched for 3,000 years. 3,000 years. 3,000 years ago, the first dynasty did not appear. Now that we have found it, the opportunity of our sect is right in front of us. And you're telling us to give up? How can we give up? Boom. Lu Yi's star power suddenly fluctuated, and he no longer cautiously probed. A fierce attack blasted towards the invisible barrier. The moment it was hit, the long sword in the array shook slightly, and a sword chi rushed out of the long sword and attacked Lu Yi. Lu Yi turned pale with fright and instantly put his hands together, sandwiching the sword chi between his palms. The appearance of the sword chi immediately caused everyone to suck in a breath of air. Wasn't this the sword chi that had saved them before? In other words, the sword chi that filled the sky was not released by anyone, but by this sword. While everyone was surprised by the sword chi, Wang Lan was more concerned about the funnel-shaped vessel under the ancient sword. With a soft sound, a crack suddenly appeared on the vessel, and with the crack, a bronze fragment fell from the funnel. Not good. Wang Lan's face changed greatly, and he pulled Yurian back. Lu Yi was still desperately resisting the sword chi attack, and the terrifying energy gradually distorted the world. The violent energy overflowed, and the people of the Lu family could not get close. After finishing the treatment, Lu Yifeng stood up again, and his eyes flashed. He suddenly burst out and slapped Lu Yi's back. Boom! Suddenly suffering a heavy blow, Lu Yi's face instantly turned purple, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Lu Yifeng, you poochie! The sword chi instantly broke through Lu Yi's defense and ruthlessly stabbed into Lu Yi's chest, all the way to the hilt. Lu Yifeng, patriarch, don't blame me. You're already old, 70 years old. How many more years can you lead the family at 70 years old? In the Yangtze River, each new generation replaces the previous one. But what about you? You still want to take possession of the divine artifact of the bright Yang Sword Pavilion? The divine artifact should be given to a younger person who can lead the family. This is not my idea alone, but the Lu family's idea. Look, I sneak attacked you, and none of them stopped me. Lu Yi turned his head with difficulty, but what he saw were pairs of indifferent eyes. Suddenly, Lu Yi recalled a documentary he had seen when he was young. The Pride of the Prairie was led by the Lion King, and the Lion King had a supreme position in the pride. However, if the Lion King was old and could no longer lead the pride, the young lions would challenge the Lion King's authority and drive the Lion King away from the pride. The old Lion King would either wander far away from the tribe or be killed on the spot. The Lion King who had lost his tribe could only wait for death in the afterglow. At this moment, he felt like the Lion King who had been abandoned by his tribe. However, he had been carelessly abandoned. There was not even a young lion who challenged him, but he had inexplicably lost everything. Poochie, the last mouthful of blood essence was spat out, taking away the last of Lu Yi's vitality. Lu Yi slowly fell, but there was a mocking smile on his face. This smile was very unfathomable, and it made Lu Yifeng shudder. Only Uncle Cho understood what Lu Yi was thinking. The timing of Lu Yifeng's sneak attack was very clever. When Lu Yi and the sword Qi were in a deadlock, this was the only chance for Lu Yifeng to succeed in his sneak attack and kill the half-step star soul realm Lu Yi. Therefore, Lu Yifeng grasped the opportunity and interrupted Lu Yi's strength, allowing the sword Qi to easily kill Lu Yi. However, Lu Yifeng seemed to have forgotten that Lu Yi was also the strongest existence in the Lu clan. Because of Lu Yi's existence, the Lu clan had an overwhelming advantage over Wang Lan. Now that Lu Yi was dead, how could Lu Yifeng fight against Uncle Cho, Wang Lan, and Yurian? Therefore, Lu Yi laughed. He laughed at Lu Yifeng's stupidity. If a monk had water to drink, 2 monks would not have water to drink. However, even if Lu Yi was killed, Lu Yifeng might not have water to drink. Boom! The sudden change caught everyone off guard. When Lu Yi fell to the ground, Lu Yifeng's smile did not even have time to bloom when a loud sound rang out. The funnel in the array instantly exploded, and a cloud of black smoke instantly filled the air. Quickly disperse. There's poison. Wang Lan hurriedly shouted and quickly retreated with Uncle Cho and the other 2. The black smoke was also strange. It was obviously a smoke-like existence, but it gathered in the array. Gradually, the black smoke condensed and turned into a human figure. Seeing the black smoke turned into a shadow, Wang Lan's face suddenly changed. The image in front of him was exactly the same as the image of the huge skeleton that Wang Lan had imagined in his mind halfway up the mountain. This is the skeleton of the demons halfway up the mountain. Wang Lan hurriedly reminded. The demons seemed to have no consciousness, standing quietly, their eyes emitting a bewitching red light. Suddenly, the demons stretched out their hands and grasped the long sword in front of them. Boom! The long sword was also fierce, and when it was held in the hands of the demons, it suddenly exploded. A sword light shot out from the divine sword and went straight to Wang Lan. How to describe the speed of this sword light? Even with Wang Lan's phoenix form sublimated state, he could not react. By the time he realized and reacted, the sword light had already rushed into the space between Wang Lan's eyebrows and disappeared. Wang Lan. Yu Ruyun's eyes were about to burst. How could he not die after being hit between the eyebrows by Sword Qi? But in the blink of an eye, Wang Lan's appearance did not seem to be injured at all, but his eyes were unfocused, and he fell into a muddle-headed state. Sect Master, the demons are attacking. All disciples listen to my orders. Form a myriad sword formation and kill the demons. A tragic battle played out in Wang Lan's mind. Countless immortals flying on their swords rushed into the space-time tunnel in the sky. Countless demons rushed into Hao Yang's sword pavilion like locusts passing through. In the sky, corpses fell like rain. Mountains were shattered, rivers were cut off, blood mist floated in the sky, and rivers of blood formed on the ground. Evil demon, Hao Yang's sword pavilion will fight to the death with you. Immortal slaying Sword Qi, demon subduing slash. A mountain was ruthlessly split open. On the mountain peak, mountains of corpses and bones fell. The crack formed a layer of corpses and a sea of blood at the bottom of the valley. The giant beast that was hundreds of meters tall was killed by the sword that gathered the countless years of Hao Yang's sword pavilion's accumulation and died at the bottom of the cliff. The white-haired young man turned back to look at the shattered sect. With a wave of his hand, he closed the mountain gate of Hao Yang's sword pavilion. This should be the scene that Lu family's ancestors saw when he arrived at the sect. Then, the giant demon appeared, and the white-haired young man fought fiercely with it. The giant demon's soul spilled out. The white-haired young man, covered in blood, sacrificed a loophole to collect the giant demon's soul and suppressed it at the peak of Red Maple with the demon-suppressing sword. The young man slowly came to the mountain gate and sat down cross-legged, gradually passing away. His body turned into a wisp of green smoke and floated toward the demon-suppressing sword in the distance. The scene in his mind seemed to have experienced 10,000 years, but in the outside world, it was indeed a moment. Lu Yifeng looked at the shattered divine, sword in shock. Suddenly, he pointed at Wang Lan with a ferocious expression. That's the sword embryo of the divine sword. It belongs to our Lu family. Hand it over. His figure instantly turned into the wind and rushed toward Wang Lan. How could Uncle Cho, who had always been on guard against the Lu family, let him do as he wished? He instantly blocked Lu Yifeng's path with his palm. Chapter 420. Our Lu family has been searching for 3,000 years. How can we let an outsider get it? If Wang Lan doesn't spit out the opportunity, the Lu family will fight to the death with him. What a joke. You think the opportunity you've been searching for 3,000 years is yours? My ancestors dreamed of becoming the Lord of Sky Blue Planet for 5,000 years. Does that mean Sky Blue Planet should be mine? You didn't care about the safety of your country and forcefully opened the alternate dimension, causing the country to suffer heavy losses. The Lu family hasn't even been blamed for your sins, and you still dare to bark here? Go back. Almighty Dragon of Heaven. Boom. A golden dragon shot out from Chobo's head and hit Lu Yifeng's chest. LV Yifeng suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood, and his body fiercely flew backwards. However, an unforeseen event suddenly occurred again. The originally motionless divine soul of the devil suddenly turned into countless tentacles, which instantly wrapped around LV Yifeng's body. What's this? Why am I? Black smoke rushed into Lu Yifeng's 7 orifices and disappeared in the blink of an eye. When LV Yifeng landed on the ground again, his black hair instantly exploded and turned into silver strands. Countless fine scales could be seen growing on his face. The human body is too fragile, Lu Yifeng said with a heavy accent, but his words made it clear that he was no longer the Lu Yifeng of the human race. Demons, disperse. Quickly disperse. The Lu clan's people retreated in fear. Disperse? You're all going to die. Lu Yifeng smiled sinisterly and waved his hand. A black light flashed from Lu Yifeng's hand. The Lu family members who were running away suddenly froze in place. It was as if someone had pressed the button to take a picture. LV Yifeng gently extended his finger. With a snap, he snapped his fingers. Behind him, the crowd of Lu family supercluster realm elites simultaneously exploded, turning into smoke and dissipating. Second miss, take Wang Lan and leave. I'll cover the rear. Chobo, don't delay. This is an ancient demon. His strength is unfathomable. Even the Azure Emperor might not be able to fight him. I can't buy much time. Quickly leave. Yuruiyun fiercely clenched her teeth. She also knew that this was not the time to be emotional. He hurriedly pulled Wang Lan, who was still in a confused state, and was about to run. However, just as his body left the ground, he suddenly froze on the spot. Yuruiyun only felt as if she was in a confined space. Even moving a finger was an extravagant hope. Chobo, who was standing in front of him, was also pale and sweating profusely. He didn't even notice how the ancient troll had attacked. His terrifying strength was like an abyss, causing him to feel despair. The ancient giant devil slowly extended his finger. As long as he snapped his finger, Wang Lan and the other two would be annihilated just like the Lu family. At this moment, Yuruiyun closed her eyes in despair. At this moment, Wang Lan's eyes regained their consciousness. Suddenly, a sharp aura gushed out. Chobo only felt a gust of wind pass by him, and then Wang Lan appeared in front of him with a series of afterimages. He only saw Wang Lan flicking out 2 fingers at lightning speed, piercing towards the ancient giant devil. Countless sword chi gushed out from Wang Lan's fingertips, turning into streams of light that blasted towards the ancient giant devil. Lu Changfeng, the ancient giant devil's expression changed greatly. He let out a roar, and the energy around his body gushed out, turning into a pitch-black energy shield in front of him to block Wang Lan's sword chi. After several sword chi were blocked, the sword chi suddenly broke through the defense and instantly rushed into the ancient giant devil's body. Then, countless sword chi followed closely behind, piercing the ancient giant devil's body full of holes. Ah, boom! With a loud sound, Lu Yifeng's body instantly exploded, and that black smoke instantly turned into a black light and disappeared into the void. The ancient giant devil was defeated, and Yu Riyun and Chobo regained their freedom. The two hurriedly came to Wang Lan's side. Wang Lan, I didn't expect you to actually hide such a move. Wang Lan. Wang Lan's body was like a javelin, and then he fell straight to the sky, fainting in Yu Riyun's arms. Chobo hurriedly stretched out his hand to check on Wang Lan's body. He's fine. He just fainted from exhaustion. We have to think of a way to get out now. But this is a fixed, sealed space. Unless someone opens a space crack here, we won't be able to get out, Yu Riyun said with a solemn face. And now that the divine sword is broken, and the altar is broken, this place is no longer protected. The powerful mutated beasts in this space can come at any time. When the car reaches the mountain, there will be a way out. Let's take one step at a time. Suddenly, where the altar was originally broken, the ground strangely caved in, and countless rocks fell down. Normally, the caving ground would leave behind a pitch-black pit. But the strange thing was that this cave-in left behind a hazy white light. Chobo and Yu Riyun carefully came to the white light and looked down. The bottom of the pit was actually an island, and the island was surrounded by the vast ocean. How to understand the state they were in now? It was like looking at the scene below through the floor. And below, wasn't the three immortal island? The two were instantly overjoyed, but they were also a little worried. What if something bad happened in the process of passing through the pit? Second miss. I'll jump first. You can jump when you see that I'm fine. With that, Chobo jumped into the pit. It was as if he jumped down from a building and easily fell into the world of mortals. Second miss. You can jump. Hearing Chobo's words, Yu Riyun didn't hesitate. She carried Wang Lan on her back and jumped down. In a daze, Wang Lan didn't know how long he slept. Gradually, his consciousness began to clear. What was I doing? Right? The divine sword exploded, and the divine soul of the ancient demon appeared suddenly. Wang Lan flipped over and sat up. In front of him was a vast expanse of white. The sunlight outside the window was so bright. There was sunlight. Did that mean that he had returned to the outside world? But what happened in between? Why don't I remember anything? Wang Lan quickly sank into his spiritual sea. He remembered that when the white light shot into his mind, there seemed to be a change in the system. He opened the system and opened the skills page. The change was obvious. Originally, the first skill on the skill list had always been the Phoenix form. But now, the first skill had become a brand new Takashi Hoshi skill. And it was a F*King Gray Takashi Hoshi skill. Bright Yang Sword Technique, Blue Diamond Level 1, 0100000, cannot be activated. Wang Lan was instantly shocked. Not because of the Blue Diamond Takashi Hoshi skill, but because of the number of 0 skill points that scared him half to death. Wang Lan counted. 1 million? Did it cost 1 million skill points to level up? At this time, Wang Lan finally saw the level of this skill clearly. Blue Diamond? Although Takashi Hoshi skill had been upgraded to the Platinum level, Wang Lan had a premonition that some skills had reached their limits. For example, the Star God Arrow had reached its limit. For example, Scorching Ray could not be upgraded when it reached Platinum level 9, but some skill points were far from enough. For example, the Devil's Snare Flower and his original skill, Light of Life, still had a lot of potential to be unearthed. So Wang Lan knew that the level above Platinum should be the Diamond level. But what was above the Diamond level? Wang Lan did not know. Now, there was a Blue Diamond that was higher than the Diamond level. Wang Lan's heart instantly surged. But why is your skill grayed out? Did it need skill points to activate it? But Wang Lan could not find the button to add skill points after searching for a long time. In other words, this skill point was very different from the Phoenix form. It cannot be activated by consuming skill points. You're awake? The door of the ward opened, and Yu Riyun walked in. Where is this? Peng Lai First National Defense Hospital. Yu Riyun put the food box on the table. You slept for 2 days. Are you hungry? It's okay that I'm hungry. How did I get out? What happened later? You don't know what happened? I don't know. Wang Lan shook his head. You don't remember anything? Yu Ruiyun asked again seriously. Looking at Yu Ruiyun's expression, Wang Lan smiled faintly. From your reaction, it seems that I did something later. Did you know that LVE Feng attacked LVE? I remember. Then LVE Feng was possessed by the ancient troll's soul and became a demon. Did you know that? Wang Lan shook his head. So, you killed LVE Feng, who became a demon, on the spot, and you don't remember anything? Killed him with a sword? Damn it. I can't remember such an awesome thing. Later, a space crack connected to the outside world appeared from where the altar collapsed. We took you out of the alternate space. The space crack lasted for less than 5 minutes before it disappeared. After I settled you in the hospital, I went to the reclaimed space to report to my uncle. From there, I learned that when the LV family opened the alternate space, a giant abyss beast appeared in the reclaimed space. However, at that time, my uncle was guarding the East China Sea. The giant abyss beast was suppressed before it could make much of a splash. From this, it can be inferred that the abnormalities in the East China Sea alternate space in the past 2 years were caused by the LV family. The number 1 chief personally approved and ordered the arrest of the relevant personnel of the LV family. After the Duanmu family, the LV family also fell. Is that so? That is to say, everything is settled? Almost, but 2 top Takashi Hoshi families were destroyed one after another. Recently, a lot of people have appeared to take the lead. The Takashi Hoshi family is in a panic. Some wild people have formed alliances. Speaking of this, Yuriyun's face showed a bitter smile. Most of those so-called ambitious people were her uncles, members of the Yu family. Arresting the LV family? Didn't the LV family act out of desperation? What do you mean by act out of desperation? The experts basically died in the alternate space. The remaining 2 experts are not on the same side as LVE. Arresting the LV family can be said to be a coordinated effort. By the way, do you have any impression of the sword technique you used? What kind of state was that? I'm not sure. Anyway, it was a muddle-headed state, but I still remember the name of that move. It's called Bright Yang Sword Art. Bright Yang Sword Art? It's a pity that I finally found an ancient cultivation sect, but I couldn't get their cultivation inheritance. How great would it be if we could recreate the ancient cultivation civilization? There will be a chance. Did you forget what LVE said about the heavenly court? There should be a heavenly court above the cultivation civilization. By the way, I forgot to tell you that Xinyu is returning today. Wang Lan was slightly stunned. He instantly jumped up from the bed. Why didn't you say so earlier? When will she arrive? There are still 3 hours before she arrives at Shanghai Airport. We can still make it if we leave now. Before Yuriyun finished speaking, Wang Lan rushed to the door. Suddenly, he stopped at the door. What's wrong? He turned around again and looked at Yuriyun seriously. Am I handsome now? Chapter 4:21. How could Yuriyun not be handsome wearing a black trench coat military uniform? Of course, if you don't think he's handsome enough, I don't mind you wearing the Phoenix sacred garment and then spreading your wings to welcome him. That would be even more handsome. Originally, wearing a military uniform to welcome someone at the airport was too serious. However, Wang Lan fainted after the battle and woke up in a hurry. That was why his slim fit and cool military uniform stood out among the crowd. After waiting for about half an hour, a group of students wearing the Shanghai Cebu Gakuen uniform walked out of the airport. Each of them pulled a suitcase. It was the most beautiful scene in the airport. Soon, Wang Lan saw Jiang Xinyu's figure in the crowd. She was talking and laughing with a few female students. Suddenly, as if she had sensed something, Jiang Xinyu abruptly turned her head and saw Wang Lan's outstanding figure from afar. The school didn't arrange a welcome at the airport for overseas aid. The welcome party was held at the school. According to the third-year seniors, it was just a formality. Therefore, Jiang Xinyu didn't expect Wang Lan to appear here. After being separated for more than 3 months, although most of the time was spent on the battlefield, Jiang Xinyu didn't stop thinking about Wang Lan for a single day. This was something that women felt more strongly than men. Men could at least distract themselves from the longing by diverting their attention. However, it was difficult for women to do so. The moment she saw Wang Lan, the longing that had accumulated for 3 months rushed out like a flood. In an instant, Jiang Xinyu's figure turned into a stream of light and appeared in front of Wang Lan. Then, she threw herself into Wang Lan's bad mood. Damn, Xinyu, who is that man? Doesn't Xinyu have a boyfriend? Could it be? Impossible, Wang Lan is so outstanding. Xinyu wouldn't mess around, right? He's a soldier. Discussions immediately broke out. It was no wonder that the third-year students did not recognize Wang Lan at first sight. Wang Lan in his military uniform was not Wang Lan, but the uniform he was wearing. When he walked over holding Jiang Xinyu's hand, everyone realized that Jiang Xinyu's boyfriend had actually come to pick her up at the airport. I really envy Xinu. She found such a considerate boyfriend, and he's also such a genius. I knew it. Xinyu wouldn't give up on such a good boyfriend and let someone else take advantage of her. Wait a minute. Our focus seems to be off? That's right. I remember that military uniform belongs to the Heavenly Sword Bureau, right? He's definitely from the Heavenly Sword Bureau. My dad is the director of the Heavenly Sword Bureau, and the black military uniform can only be worn by a colonel. Wang Lan is a colonel in the Heavenly Sword Bureau? What's wrong? Was it impossible? Wang Lan is such a genius. Even if he joins the Heavenly Sword Bureau, shouldn't he be promoted to colonel? You guys don't know how difficult it is to be promoted in the Heavenly Sword Bureau. To be promoted step by step in the Heavenly Sword Bureau, one must have relied on actual merits. The Heavenly Sword Bureau doesn't have any exceptions for promotions. With Wang Lan here to pick her up, Jiang Xinyu naturally did not follow the crowd and take the bus to school. Anyway, Wang Lan drove here. After sitting in the car, Jiang Xinyu's fluctuating emotions gradually calmed down. Jiang Xinyu's personality was like that. She was very calm and rarely had intense emotional fluctuations. This time, she was able to throw herself into Wang Lan's arms in front of so many people, which was already a sign of her emotions. If CSCC was in the same situation, she would probably bite him in front of everyone. Why did you come to pick me up in your military uniform? Don't you usually not wear your military uniform? The military uniform looks cool. To be honest, isn't it the truth? Okay, I just finished a mission, so I didn't have time to change before I rushed over. I guess so too. I called you before I boarded the plane, but the call went through, but no one picked up. I guess that you must be busy. Are you done now? I'm done. I won't go to school first. I have something to give you. Let's go to my house. Hearing this, Jiang Xinyu's ears suddenly turned red. That's not a good idea. Let's go back to school first. There's a welcoming ceremony later. Forget it. It's just half-heartedly. Listen to me. Also, you have to make up for it after living in the wilderness for more than 3 months. Let's go eat lamb chop tonight. Don't go back to school tonight. Wang Lan chattered on about his arrangements, not caring at all that Jiang Xinyu's ears were getting redder and redder. The battlefield is really a place to train people. Although I've been to the trial space before, the exotic beasts in the trial space are like docile kittens compared to the exotic beasts in the alternate dimension. The exotic beasts in the alternate dimension are very aggressive. If you're not vigilant, you can be ambushed at any time. The first time I participated in the reinforcement, I was part of the reserve team. That feeling was something I couldn't feel no matter how many times I went to the trial space. In the Middle East, there's a small town called Kessel. The people there mainly produce military uniforms, military boots, and steel. When we received the mission, an alternate dimension opened up nearby. I sent 12 people to rescue the townspeople. From the time we received the order to the time we arrived at our destination, it only took an hour. In that hour, I didn't see exotic beasts wreaking havoc everywhere, nor did I see the townspeople hiding. When we arrived, there was nothing there. Other than the bloodstains all over the town, we didn't find a single living person. The battlefield soon made me stronger, braver, and more powerful. Jiang Xinyu snuggled in Wang Lan's arms and talked about some of the unforgettable things she experienced during the 3 months of reinforcement. In Jiang Xinyu's words, Almost every day after officially participating in a reinforcement was an unforgettable day. However, because there were too many unforgettable days, she got used to it. How much of the Soul Pearl grenades did you use? I didn't use much of the others, but I used more of the Medical Awaken ones. I didn't use them for myself, but for my classmates and teachers. I know that you're most worried about my safety, but in fact, as long as my strength improves fast enough, danger won't catch up with me. I broke through to the Galaxy Realm a month after arriving in the Middle East. Later, there were battles every day, and I absorbed Soul Pearls every day. Coupled with the Immortal Cloud Mystic Verdant Record Chi refinement chapter that you gave me, my strength was constantly increasing. Now, I've reached the mid-stage of the Galaxy Realm. What about you? You said that you broke through to the Galaxy Realm the last time you called. Yes, I'm also at the mid-stage of the Galaxy Realm. Wang Lan's mind was not on chatting now. His hand kept stroking Jiang Sinyu's shoulder. Stop fooling around, Jiang Sinyu warned. It seems that the gap between us will get bigger and bigger in the future. Stop fooling around. Didn't you say that you had something good for me? Are you the only one who's dishonest? If you continue to be like this, I'll go back to school tonight. Okay. Don't move. The main thing is that I used my points to exchange for a Takashi Hoshi technique some time ago. I'll pass it on to you. After saying that, he put 2 fingers like a sword and pressed them between Jiang Sinyu's eyebrows. Snow God's domain? Where did you get it? Did you get it from the country of ice and snow? No, didn't I say just now? I exchanged it with points from the school's Takashi Hoshi Technique Museum. I went to the school's Takashi Hoshi Technique Museum a long time ago, but I didn't see it. It's fine if you don't talk about this, but when you talk about it, I get angry. You know that I developed the Takashi Hoshi toxin vaccine. Now, the country is exchanging the Takashi Hoshi toxin vaccine for the Takashi Hoshi technique. The Takashi Hoshi technique that I exchanged for still had to use my points to buy it. It's like I'm getting something for nothing. Watching Wang Lan's antics, Jiang Sinyu gave him a supercilious look. That's right. How can you practice the ice attribute Takashi Hoshi technique? Don't tell me you've already fused the ice attribute. Sinyu, you're the one who forced me to act cool. Wang Lan suddenly shook his body and raised his tiger whip. Not to mention the ice attribute. I now have the mist attribute, the flame attribute, the melting attribute, and so on. Just as Wang Lan was about to take the next step, his phone suddenly rang. Wang Lan took out his phone and looked at it. His face suddenly changed. What's wrong? The Heavenly Sword Bureau's signal for help? Boom! Before Wang Lan could put on his clothes, a loud noise suddenly came from outside. A violent explosion sounded, followed by a burst of exclamations. Wang Lan instantly came to the balcony and looked down. His face suddenly changed. More than 10 mutated beasts appeared in Phoenix Square. The mutated beasts were crazily chasing and killing the people in the square. As Shanghai's Fanghua Square, there were tens of thousands of people in Phoenix Square at night. With tens of thousands of people gathered together, a large number of casualties could be caused in a few minutes. In an instant, Wang Lan's figure disappeared. When he reappeared, he had already landed in Phoenix Square. Zanpakuto. In such a densely populated environment, Zanpakuto was the most effective way to kill people. The moment the Zanpakuto was in his hand, Wang Lan's figure had already turned into a colorful butterfly. Help! Help! A girl's foot was caught by the mutated beast's tongue and was quickly dragged towards the beast's huge mouth. Although the people around wanted to help, they were too afraid to do so. Facing the terror of the mutated beast, they didn't dare to move. The panicked people rushed into the shops and closed the doors. More people ran out of the square. The girl was desperate. She stared blankly at the beast's bloody mouth in front of her, as if she was scared silly and stopped struggling. Suddenly, a butterfly strangely appeared on top of the mutated beast's head. In an instant, a figure flashed by. Poochie! Green blood spurted out and splashed on the girl's skirt. She only felt a pair of arms pick her up, and then her vision changed. She appeared dozens of meters away. At this moment, more than a dozen mutated beasts that were chasing people in the square were beheaded. Are you okay? Do you know where the mutated beast came from? Wang Lan hurriedly asked, but the girl's expression was sluggish. She looked at Wang Lan in a daze. Did this soldier brother save me? This soldier brother is so handsome. Don't I have to die? Wang Lan here, come quickly. Jiang Sinyu's voice sounded. Wang Lan's figure instantly disappeared. After seeing Wang Lan completely disappear, the girl gradually regained consciousness. Thinking of the moment just now, Wang Lan's handsomeness was instantly forgotten. She turned around and ran out of Phoenix Square. At the back of the square, in a flower bed, more than a dozen mutated beasts were eating in the flower bed. There were bloodstains all around the flower bed. A few people who didn't manage to escape were killed by the mutated beasts. Wang Lan was instantly enraged. His figure turned into a hell butterfly, and in the blink of an eye, all the mutated beasts were killed. At the same time, the fluctuations of Takashi Hoshi's skill came from next to the flower bed. Wang Lan's figure flashed, and he met up with Jiang Xinyu. In the area where Jiang Xinyu was, more than a dozen mutated beasts were killed on the spot. In front of Jiang Xinyu, a distorted spatial crack opened like a demon's eye. Chapter 422. The Spatial Rift is here. Xiao AI. Quickly check where else there are exotic beasts. All the cameras in the Phoenix Plaza area have been activated. No exotic beasts were found. Xiao AI replied very quickly, almost as soon as Wang Lan finished speaking. An exotic beast poked its head out of the spatial rift with a ferocious expression. Before it could even let out a roar, Wang Lan blew it up with an extremely hot ray of light. Ruiyun, you stay here. I'll go close the spatial rift. Who knows how strong the exotic beasts in the spatial rift are? Let's wait for the school's reinforcements to arrive first. No need, I can handle it. After saying that, Wang Lan rushed into the spatial rift. After entering the spatial rift, the terrain inside the spatial rift was that of a mountain range. Moreover, it wasn't green, but rocky barren mountains where plants couldn't grow. The entire mountain range was filled with those ferocious-looking lizard exotic beasts with long tongues. After entering the spatial rift, Wang Lan didn't hold back. Faced with the countless exotic beasts rushing at him, Wang Lan lightly stomped his foot. Snow God's domain. The exotic beast strength were all around the heavenly body tier. 50% of them were above the heavenly body tier. In other words, the strength of this spatial rift was about the same as the strength of the intermediate training grounds. With Wang Lan's current strength, he was more or less the type that could kill them instantly with a stomp of his foot. Countless exotic beasts rushed into Wang Lan's Snow God's domain in waves. Then, as if a spell had been cast on them, their bodies stiffened, and they turned into ice sculptures. As Wang Lan pushed forward, at least 5,000 exotic beasts died in Wang Lan's Snow God's domain. This spatial rift was about the size of a county, about 10 kilometers in length and breadth. Wang Lan killed wherever he went. Those that attacked Wang Lan were all sent to hell by Wang Lan. An hour later, Wang Lan found the spatial node. With a single punch, the spatial node instantly shattered and dissipated into the sky. The space quickly collapsed and twisted as Wang Lan rushed out of the alternate space like a stream of light. Seeing Wang Lan come out safe and sound, Jiang Sinyu's face relaxed. "How are you?" Jiang Xinyu asked with concern. "It's fine. It's been so long, and no one has come to help?" Wang Lan was puzzled. The Phoenix Plaza was very close to the academy. Logically speaking, the academy should have reacted faster than the Heavenly Sword Bureau when a strange beast came out of the alternate dimension. A few groups of seniors came, but when they heard that you had entered the alternate dimension, they turned around and left. Jiang Xinyu was a little speechless as she looked at Wang Lan. "I really didn't think that the academy would recognize your strength so much after I left for only 3 months. Wang Lan didn't know how to respond. How could his sense of identity not be high? Why didn't they think about what he had done in the past 3 months? Even the strongest seniors in the academy called Wang Lan and Yu Riyun the strongest students in Shanghai Cebu Gakuen. How could the sophomores and juniors have any opinions? Of course, it was a unanimous vote. No one was allowed to refute. Where did they go after leaving? They went to other places to help. Now, Shanghai is in chaos everywhere. Phoenix Plaza is not the only place. Jiang Xinyu hurriedly told him the information she had received. Not only one place. Someone wants to destroy Shanghai. That's not right. Wang Lan suddenly realized the problem. There were two prerequisites for opening an alternate dimension. First, Shanghai was close to the EC reclamation space. If it was a naturally opened alternate dimension, it was impossible. This was because naturally opened alternate dimensions would usually be absorbed by the EC reclamation space. However, if it was an unnaturally opened alternate dimension, it must be opened with a spatial stone. When the spatial stone was opened, there would be a premonition of spatial turbulence. At that time, Wang Lan was at home in the Phoenix Plaza. With his sensitivity to spatial fluctuations, he must have sensed them. What's wrong? Wang Lan? I'm afraid it's not that simple. Alarms are going off everywhere in Shanghai. Alternate dimensions were suddenly opening all over Shanghai. However, the silver lining was that these alternate dimensions were not very strong. Shanghai had the first-rate Heavenly Sword Bureau's camp and the killer Cebu Gakuin of Shanghai. After the Academy and the Heavenly Sword Bureau were mobilized, they covered the entire Shanghai in an hour. 5 hours later, the alternate dimensions were closed one after another. In fact, Wang Lan did not need to show his skills to close alternate dimensions of such strength. Any Galaxy grade team could close them completely. At 2A, the last alternate dimension was successfully closed. However, the students of the Academy and the warriors of the Heavenly Sword Bureau did not immediately withdraw. They were still patrolling everywhere and counting the number of casualties. When Wang Lan returned to the Heavenly Sword Bureau, he was immediately called to the big conference room by Cheng Jianlong for a meeting. In the big conference room of Shanghai, the higher-ups of the Academy and the heads of the various departments of the Heavenly Sword Bureau were gathered. Di Lao, my colleagues, and the Academy leaders, the casualty statistics are out. This time, a total of 73 alternate dimensions suddenly opened. The number of casualties due to the mutated beasts is more than 13,700. The area with the highest number of casualties is the area furthest from our reinforcement area. Daunting Town has more than 1,000 casualties. The opening of 73 alternate dimensions is definitely not a coincidence. It must be the doing of the demon spies. A vice dean of the Academy shouted as he slammed the table. General Cheng, 73 alternate dimensions have opened. If it were any other city, the city would have been destroyed. Did the Heavenly Sword Bureau do anything? Why didn't the Heavenly Sword Bureau realize that the demons planned such a big operation? These questions made the faces of the people of the Heavenly Sword Bureau turn ashen. Cheng Jianlong's expression was also very ugly. Vice Dean Li's criticism is correct. The Heavenly Sword Bureau has indeed failed in its duty. We actually didn't realize that 73 alternate dimensions had opened. The Heavenly Sword Bureau will deeply reflect on this, but now is not the time to hold them accountable. After this matter is over, I will ask for forgiveness from the higher-ups. The problem now is, how did these alternate dimensions open? This is the real problem. In the past, we thought that the natural spaces that were opened would definitely be absorbed by the EC Wasteland Reclamation Space, and the fixed spaces would definitely be opened by the Space Stone. Therefore, over the years, our Heavenly Sword Bureau has spent a lot of energy on the investigation of spatial stones. We always thought that as long as we controlled the flow of the Space Stone, the alternate dimensions wouldn't open. But tonight, we were taught a painful lesson. These alternate dimensions weren't opened by the Space Stone. We have enough witnesses to confirm that the spaces were opened in an instant. Opening alternate dimensions in an instant? Stop joking. An Academy teacher laughed disdainfully. No matter if it was a Space Stone or a naturally opened alternate dimension, it would take at least 10 minutes. But tonight, it was opened very, very quickly. It was so fast that the citizens didn't even have time to call the police. Also, we can confirm that the opening this time was controlled by someone. This was bullshit. If it wasn't controlled by someone, how could 73 alternate dimensions open at the same time? Everyone, please take a look. This is the surveillance video when the alternate dimensions appeared. Cheng Jianlong turned on the projector in the conference room. Soon, the scene that happened that night was replayed in front of everyone's eyes. On the busy street, there were all kinds of people with different expressions on their faces. In the crowd, a person wearing a black hat and a black coat was marked with a red dot. Suddenly, the black person's body twisted and disappeared. The space where he disappeared was still distorted, and this distortion was getting bigger and bigger. Suddenly, a spatial crack appeared. The appearance of the spatial crack caused many people to scatter in fear. Soon, a mutated beast rushed out of the crack and hunted down the people around it. Chaos began. It really wasn't opened by the space stone. Who is this person? A professor asked anxiously. Cheng Jianlong opened a few screenshots of the video and vaguely saw the person's face. That person's face had a glossy reflection. Wang Lan's eyes suddenly became serious. This reflection was strange. At this point, the Heavenly Sword Bureau's higher-ups also breathed a sigh of relief. In their hearts, they felt even more wronged. The Heavenly Sword Bureau was the first to be blamed for this incident in Shanghai. They accepted being blamed, but if it was because of their negligence, they felt wronged. Who could have predicted this method of opening alternate dimensions? Who could have withstood it? The demons made such a big move in Shanghai, and the Heavenly Sword Bureau didn't notice at all? Now think about it. Did the demons make such a big move? Vice President Li's cheeks twitched slightly. If this was the way to open it, and it could be opened so easily, it was no wonder that the Heavenly Sword Bureau was involved. But at the same time, everyone's hearts became heavier. It was already impossible to guard against the space stone opening alternate dimensions. Now, there was this kind of mysterious method. If the demons had mastered this method of opening alternate dimensions, they could easily destroy the city's defenses in other cities. How could they guard against this kind of situation? Director Cheng, I don't think this is the only place recorded by the camera, right? Are there any other photos? The kind that is clearer? Wang Lan stood up and asked. The technical department is working on it. The 73 locations are in busy areas. It stands to reason that there should be cameras in all of them. Cheng Jianlong dialed a number. After putting down the phone, Cheng Jianlong did not hesitate. He quickly opened the slideshow of the photos. It was another scene of the opening of alternate dimensions, and it was even clearer than the first one. But when everyone saw this scene, they were suddenly stunned. How could it be the same person? Could it be that these 73 alternate dimensions were all opened by the same person? No, look at the time of the shooting. At this time, there's another person in another area in another photo. In other words, they're not the same person, either the doppelganger or a group of people dressed the same way. If it's a group of people, then what about the ability? Abilities are ever-changing, and the possibility of two people having the same ability is very small. And this person, unless this ability is very common among demons. A fierce debate broke out, but Wang Lan was staring at the photo. Suddenly, a photo flashed past Wang Lan's eyes. Wang Lan quickly stopped it. Yes, this is it. Zoom in, zoom in, zoom in. As the photo was zoomed in little by little, Wang Lan and everyone present finally saw the face in the photo. The moment they saw the face, Wang Lan and Yu Ruyun stood up together. It's him, ancient troll. Wang Lan's voice seemed to be squeezed out from the depths of his throat. Chapter 423. Wang Lan, do you know this person? Cheng Jianlong quickly asked. Cheng Ju, he should be the ancient troll that I saw in the fixed space. He was released by the LV family. When the ancient troll possessed LV Yifeng, blood vessels and scales appeared on LV Yifeng's face. The scales on his face in the photo were exactly the same as LV Yifeng's. Although LV Yifeng was killed by the bright Yang sword art, the ancient troll's primordial spirit wouldn't die so easily. He should have escaped from the fixed space. But what? But if the ancient troll had escaped from the fixed space, why did he come to Shanghai? As soon as this question came out, everyone present suddenly reacted. That's right. Why did he come to Shanghai? Even if he wasn't the ancient troll, he could be a spy for any demons. Why did he come to Shanghai? To cause trouble. Although Shanghai was the second capital, it was a term used during the dynasty era. Nowadays, the capital of the Jade State was only Jingdu. Shanghai had a prosperous economy and a high status, but it couldn't be compared to Jingdu. However, the defensive power of Shanghai was no less than that of Jingdu. If the demons wanted to disrupt the political influence of the Jade State, they should have done it in Jingdu. Why did they come to Shanghai? If they just wanted to cause trouble, they could have gone to other cities to cause trouble. Causing trouble in Shanghai was like hitting the hardest southern wall. From the demons' point of view, Shanghai wasn't a strategic place that had to be conquered. Therefore, it felt like a farce for the demons to cause trouble in Shanghai today. The demons must have other schemes. It's impossible for them to just cause trouble for us. At this moment, Cheng Jianlong's mobile phone rang again. After reading it, he suddenly stood up. The intelligence department just sent in the latest information. At midnight last night, a group of mysterious Takashi Hoshi attacked our prison number 8. They kidnapped 50 Takashi Hoshi criminals. A prison break? Is it related to the opening of the alternate space? A school leader asked. I can't guarantee that it's related. However, they launched a prison break at this special time tonight, and almost all the Takashi Hoshi criminals were kidnapped. I think the two must be related. What do you think, Wang Lan? Wang Lan was still thinking about why the ancient trolls came to Shanghai when Cheng Jianlong suddenly called him out. He raised his head and pondered for a while before saying, Is it possible that their purpose is to break the prison? This is impossible, right? The head of the intelligence department said hesitantly, Is it necessary to make such a big fuss just to break out of prison? Besides, the criminals in the prison were not worth the demon's attention, right? Birds of paradise have so many people. But if you think about it from another perspective, it's not impossible. Ming Yi suddenly said, Shanghai prison number 8 is heavily guarded and is only 2 kilometers away from the Sky Sword Bureau. If it was any other time, would they have a chance? Moreover, although the opening of the 73 alternate spaces had caused a lot of turmoil, the strength of these alternate spaces was indeed not very strong. These alternate dimensions give me the feeling that they are used to create chaos. Understanding Knight's words made the head of the intelligence division fall into deep thought. How about this? The Heavenly Sword Bureau and the Academy will continue to maintain the status quo and guard the various regions. Make the regional branches more concentrated. I will immediately raise a warning to the higher-ups. Under the premise that we don't know the demon's goal and how many people have the ability to open alternate spaces at any time, it would be best for all the cities in the country to guard in this way. The last one is Wang Lan. Yes, you are in charge of investigating the cause of this incident and finding out the demon's conspiracy. The Heavenly Sword Bureau's power is up to you to mobilize as you wish. Yes, Wang Lan, Dilao suddenly spoke up. You can make any request from the Academy, whether it's manpower or material resources. You can mobilize them all, as long as you can find that guy as soon as possible and find out the demon's conspiracy. Dean, what I'm most worried about now is not the demon's conspiracy, but the problem of our highest combat power. Yu Riyun and I have experienced the strength of the ancient trolls. Titled experts can be annihilated with a snap of the fingers of the ancient trolls. Don't worry. The Qing Emperor, Yu Qing, will stay in Modu for a while. This old man can also make some moves. If there's really no other way, Dao Tianxian can rush back to help. You just need to find the whereabouts of the demon spy, the ancient trolls, and their conspiracy. Yes, in a certain high-end villa district in Modu, a black car slowly drove into the district. It was drizzling, and the windshield wipers splashed messily across the glass. The car drove into the ground garage of a villa, and the garage door slowly closed. Through the shutter door, a young man in a red military uniform got out of the car. Crisp footsteps could be heard as he walked down a series of stairs to the depths of the underground. The lights were turned on, and several people with completely different ages, figures, and even occupations were sitting in the secret underground room. The space-time gem is not in the Heavenly Sword Bureau. It should be in the hands of the Dean of Modu, Cebu Gakuen. Then what are we waiting for? A rough voice suddenly sounded. There was actually a set of strange crystals in the secret room. The voice came from the crystals. As the voice sounded, a human face gradually appeared in the crystals. The human face gradually condensed into the face of the ancient trolls in the fixed alternate space. Respected General Titan, in Modu, the most powerful organization is not the Heavenly Sword Bureau, but Cebu Gakuen. If the space-time gem is in the Heavenly Sword Bureau, I can still think of a way, but if it's in the Academy, we can't do anything. General Titan, why don't you hide with us and wait for an opportunity to make a move? How about you return when the Empire's army arrives in the future? I can't survive for long without a body. The longer I stay, the weaker I will be until I return to the embrace of the ancient gods. Only when I return to the mother planet can I have a chance to regenerate my body. I only have 12 days, and I must get the space-time gem within 12 days to open the space passage. Sorry, 12 days is impossible. The transformation of the biochemical demon general will take at least a month to complete. I'm not negotiating with you. 12 days is the deadline. If you can't do it, then I'll borrow your body. When the time comes, don't blame me for not caring about our kinsman. As soon as he finished speaking, the human face in the crystal dissipated like smoke. When the giant demon disappeared, the 6 people present seemed to relax and let out long sighs of relief. Why did you lie to him? Isn't it enough to transform the biochemical demon general in 10 days? If we didn't say that, would he have stayed? Although he's from the ancient Titan race, he's not from our era. He's destined to not listen to our arrangements. Such a troublesome fellow will bring hidden dangers to our infiltration. If it were up to me, we would have sent him away quickly. But he's indeed very powerful, isn't he? The red-clothed youth asked with a faint smile. The ancient Titan race can rival powerful existences like the 5 emperors, even though he's only in his soul state. If we can think of a way to clone his body here, that would be perfect. When the Titan race is at their peak, even if they're suppressed by the laws, they still possess absolute power. He can help us clear any obstacles that we want to clear. Create a Titan's body in the land? That's impossible. Even without the law suppression, we can't do it, an old pedant quickly said. I don't know if you still remember. Chimei, that notorious criminal? Chimei has the ability to regenerate bodies. If he can regenerate his own body, he can naturally regenerate the bodies of others as well. If we can find Chimei, we can definitely create a body for the ancient Titan race. Chimei was exiled to the land with a group of vicious criminals 2,000 to 3,000 years ago. Is he still alive? I remember that almost all of the criminals from back then died. He should still be alive. There's still Chimei's inheritance in the Cloud Sea region. Since you have this plan, why didn't you tell the Titan General? Because I'm not sure if his priority is to return to his mother planet or to regenerate his body. Furthermore, as you said, he's not from the same era as us. What we need is a good sword, not an ancestor. If we don't have something in our hands, how can we control him? If he's not stupid, then we'll do our best to help him create a body. If he's hopelessly stupid, then we'll make a final contribution to the Protoss. As expected of you, you're really sinister. There aren't many people left in the Titan race. Even if he returns, he won't be able to revive the Titan race. On the other side, Wang Lan was in charge of investigating the demon's purpose in causing chaos in Shanghai. He definitely had to bring Jiang Xinyu and Yu Rian along. On one hand, he had his girlfriend, and on the other hand, he could borrow the power of the Yu family. Wang Lan also had to bring along the Heavenly Sword Bureau's S-team. After all, they had worked together before, and he recognized the abilities of the S-team. That night, the entire Shanghai did not sleep. That night, the various media outlets in Shanghai crazily bombarded the nerves of the entire nation. Among the countless questions, why? Why did Shanghai encounter such an attack? After the question of why so many people had died broke out, the anger of the citizens was easily directed at the Heavenly Sword Bureau and the superintendent. Was it because the Heavenly Sword Bureau did not guard well enough? Was it because the superintendent was negligent? In the morning, the various official media outlets collectively released their statements. They used the headline, "There has never been a peaceful time, but this is just the behavior of people before they bear heavy burdens." This lifted the veil of peace to the ordinary people. 70 years of peace in the Jade State? For the past 70 years, the Jade State has been living and working in peace and contentment? Wrong. Yes, you have lived and worked in peace and contentment. But this peace and contentment came from the deaths of hundreds of thousands of Takashi Hoshi in battle over the past 70 years. Countless nameless people who suffered unimaginable pain secretly protected you in exchange for this peace and contentment. What peace and contentment? Demons have never stopped wanting to exterminate the human race, and beasts have never stopped wanting to see the human race as prey. The whole world knows the truth. If there were not countless people fighting in corners unknown to you, the rotten situation in the Middle East would be an example. So what if such an attack happened in Shanghai? More than 10,000 people died when the 73 alternate dimensions opened. Shanghai has a population of 20 million people. The 73 alternate dimensions spread all over Shanghai only caused a death rate of 1 in 2,000. If it were any other country, who would be able to do so well? Compared to those places where one alternate dimension slaughtered an entire city, what else do you have to criticize? Under this kind of rhythm, the people stopped their clamoring in fear. However, after the mayor of Shanghai announced that the city had entered a state of alert, fear began to spread explosively. Chapter 424. Captain, we found the bus. Su Ting hurried to Wang Lan and said, "Where is it?" "A shallow beach on the Bund. A fishing boat hit a reef." Later, they went down to check and found a bus, so they immediately called the police. After investigation, it was confirmed that it was the bus that robbed the criminal from prison number 8 last night. "Have you found the owner of the bus?" "It belongs to the Shanghai Eastern District's long-distance bus operation department." "Let's go." The group drove to the long-distance bus operation department. After taking out their IDs, they were immediately taken to the general manager's office by the staff. After explaining the purpose of their visit, the general manager immediately ordered an investigation. "General manager, we found it. The bus was eliminated and sold 5 years ago." "Who was it sold to?" "A person named Chen Feiyu. He is the person in charge of the Flying Feathers driving school." There were a total of 9 buses that were eliminated in the same batch as this bus. All of them were purchased by the Flying Feathers driving school as instructors. "Got it. Thank you for your cooperation." "Do you have the address of the Flying Feathers driving school?" "Yes." After getting the address of the driving school from the long-distance bus station, Wang Lan and the others drove another 60 kilometers to the location of the Flying Feathers driving school. However, the driving school in front of them had become an agricultural product. Although it was unrecognizable, traces of the driving school could still be seen. "Excuse me, who are you looking for?" When Wang Lan and the others got out of the car and looked outside the agricultural product security guard asked curiously in front of Wang Lan and the others. The security guard looked at the military uniforms on Wang Lan and the others with some fear. In this era, the people still had a natural fear of the guards, and the people who were more ruthless than the guards were the soldiers. "We're looking for the Flying Feathers driving school, but I think this place doesn't seem right." "Flying Feathers driving school? That's old history." The security guard quickly said with a smile, "The driving school has been closed for many years." "Many years? How many years?" "Yes, it has been 5 years because the farm has been here for 5 years." 5 years. "Old Chen, who are they?" A voice came from afar. The security guard quickly turned around and said to Wang Lan, "My boss is here. The farm belongs to my boss." I heard that he knows Chun Feiyu. The boss came forward and saw that Wang Lan and the others were wearing black military uniforms. He immediately became nervous. Wang Lan took out his Heavenly Sword Bureau ID. Hello, we're from Shanghai's Heavenly Sword Bureau. We're here to look for Chun Feiyu from Flying Feathers Driving Academy. Do you know him? Chun Feiyu? How could I not recognize him? I would recognize him even if he turned into ashes. When the boss mentioned Chun Feiyu, he was so angry that his teeth itched. Chun Feiyu, that gambling addict, ran away after he owed a lot of money. Many people have been looking for him all over the world, but he's nowhere to be found. He still owes me $3 million. When did his Flying Feathers Driving Academy disappear? May of 1914. Anyway, in May of 1914, they talked to me about selling the driving school. I don't run driving schools, but this land is really good. In July, I bought the driving school and opened this agricultural business. May, Wang Lan immediately found a contradiction. From the contract he got from the bus station, Chun Feiyu ordered 9 buses in June of 1914. If he planned to sell the driving school in May, would he need to spend $1 million to buy buses? Now that the buses had become the demon's tool, it was obvious that the demons had been preparing since then. Although they might not have been preparing for yesterday's operation, they must have been preparing to stockpile supplies. Can you show me the contract you signed with Chun Feiyu? Also, we want to check your agricultural business. Yes. Could the boss say no? You have such a big background, of course you can. Looking at the contract, it was indeed signed in June of 1914. The notes were also the same as the signed notes at the bus station. Suddenly, Wang Lan set his suspicions on Chun Feiyu. Captain, this agricultural business is actually a pig farm. Liang came to Wang Lan and reported. Yes, our main business is pigs. Pork is so expensive now, but we still have other agricultural products. Our farm's milk is still very good, but I see that the pigs here are not domesticated. 80% of them were bought from other farms. The pigs are engraved with the seals of different farms. It's like this. Because the pig business has been booming recently, we bought them from other farms at a low price. We resell them and earn a lot more than raising them ourselves. But not all of our pigs are bought. Many of them are raised by us. I was wondering why the price of meat in Shanghai has been rising so fast. So it's because you guys are secretly controlling the source of the pork production? Yang suddenly shouted. Yang, their business matters are none of our business. Wang Lan hurriedly shouted. Yes, if there's nothing else, we'll leave first. All right, if there's any news about Chun Feiyu, I hope you can call the police. Thank you for your cooperation. Of course. After getting the car started and slowly drove away. Yang hesitated for a long time, then suddenly said to the rearview mirror, Captain, I'm sorry. Wang Lan, who was thinking about something, looked up blankly. What's wrong? Why are you apologizing all of a sudden? I shouldn't have said so much about something that doesn't concern us. I'm just angry. The price of pork has been rising by half these years. The price of pork in Shanghai used to be stable, but it's been rising crazily these years. I've never heard of swine fever or anything. It's just rising out of nowhere. It turns out that they're controlling the number of pigs at the source and creating the illusion that there's a shortage of pigs. That's it. What are you apologizing for? Although it's not our business, we can't pretend that we don't know since we've seen it. Can't we just report it to the Ministry of Agriculture? I saw that you were looking down, so I thought you were angry about it. Nonsense. Angry about it? Is it worth it? Wang Lan rolled his eyes and turned to look at the car behind him. Where's the bus? It's at the police station. Let's go. We'll go to the police station to take a look at the bus. Hopefully, we can find some clues and send it back to the station. We must find the person in charge of Flying Feathers Driving School, Chun Feiyu. Understood. The 2 cars arrived at the police station. After explaining the purpose of their visit, they were immediately brought to the side of the bus. The bus had been fished out of the water, and it was still dripping water. There were many eye-catching things on the bus, and many parts were deformed. However, the overall model was not damaged. According to the police station's speculation, the bus had fallen off the cliff and landed at the mouth of the shoal. falling from a high place. Even with the buffer of the water, the shoal was only a meter deep, and there were gravel at the bottom. How was it possible that the bus was not damaged? The degree of deformation was not high either. After Wang Lan checked it, he became serious. Jiang Xinyu came to Wang Lan curiously. "What's wrong? Did you find something? I've seen such reinforcement before." Wang Lan pointed at the inner frame of the bus and said, "I still remember a dangerous situation soon after I awakened my Takashi Hoshi talent. The demons used a camouflage bus to take 50 parents of students into the half-space created by the demons. The bus that fell off the cliff was reinforced in this way. At that time, the bus broke down and we were saved. In the end, the bus collapsed in the space together with the space. Although I'm not sure if the bus and this bus are the same batch, the reinforcement method is the same. That is to say, from this bus, we can confirm that the ones who kidnapped the 50 Takashi Hoshi criminals were demons. It should be that we can really connect it to the current turmoil. The ones who opened the alternate space were demons, and the ones who broke the prisoners were also demons. But the problem is that the main point is that the chaos is all demons, and breaking the prisoners is just a matter of convenience. Or is the prison break the purpose, and the chaos is all a cover? In terms of value, is a group of prisoners worth the demons doing this? This can't be judged for the time being, but a small repair shop shouldn't be able to modify the bus to this extent, right? Wang Lan asked. It's not just impossible. A voice rang out. Everyone turned around and saw Li Yang, who had been promoted to senior lieutenant, striding over. "Captain, I've sent professionals to evaluate this bus. Other than the outer shell, other than the outer layer of skin and the seats, almost everything else has been changed. A brand new gasoline engine, a brand new shock absorber and balance system. This set costs at least 2 million yuan. Although it looks like a bus, it's actually a four-wheel drive off-road vehicle. It can cross mountains, cross bridges, and wade through rivers. Then we'll follow this lead and investigate the car repair company that has the ability to modify these buses. The superintendent has already started to investigate this aspect. I have the corresponding network here. There are a total of 1,200 after-sales service companies in the entire Demon City that have the ability to do this. So many." Wang Lan was surprised. "I say, Captain, don't you think about where we are? Demon City. Those who live in Demon City might not be able to afford a house, but who can afford a car? There are tens of thousands of car enthusiasts in Demon City. Small car repair shops don't have room to survive at all. Which chain car repair shop doesn't have some ability? There was no 4S business model in this world. The after-sales service of cars was guaranteed. Although the effect was the same, the nature was completely different. They visited more than 1,000 shops. Even with the help of the Demon City superintendent, they were still very busy. However, this bit of hard work was not worth mentioning compared to fighting exotic beasts in the alternate dimension. At night, Wang Lan was in Jiang Xinyu's arms, enjoying the massage from Jiang Xinyu's fingertips. Wang Lan let out a comfortable moan. Although Jiang Xinyu's technique was not very good, the physical and mental satisfaction could completely replace the physical satisfaction. If it were in the past, would you be able to enjoy this? Jiang Xinyu was willing to do this for Wang Lan. This could only mean one thing. She had completely conquered him. At the thought of this, Wang Lan laughed like a pig in his heart. Ding, ding, dang, dang. Every time he enjoyed leisure time, there would always be people who wanted to ruin it. Looking at the caller ID, Wang Lan helplessly picked up his phone and answered the call. Yurun. At this moment, Yurun was roaring in her heart. Before Jiang Xinyu came back, you called me Ruoyan. After Jiang Xinyu came back, you became Yuruoyan? Men are indeed cruel and unscrupulous. However, Yurien was not in the mood to care about this now. I just received news that an alternate dimension was opened in a car repair shop in Jiating District, causing more than 500 deaths. So, Wang Lan immediately sat up in shock. Chapter 4:25. Why do they inform you first instead of me? Wang Lan asked when he saw Yu Riyun, who was ready to go. Wang Lan was the leader of the investigation team. There was no reason not to inform Wang Lan of the latest situation. That area is managed by the students of the academy. The leader is a member of the student council. I heard that we've been paying more attention to the car repair company recently, and the accident happened at the car repair company's dormitory. How's the situation? It's not good. Yu Ruoyan shook her head. It was late at night when the spatial rift appeared. There were no fluctuations or abnormal movements. Those ultra beasts were very strange. They were a type of liquid worm-type ultra beast, appearing without a sound and killing without a sound. By the time the students arrived, the car repair company's dormitory had been slaughtered. Even the people in the nearby hardware stores and decoration materials stores were killed. By the time Wang Lan and the others arrived at the car repair company, the whole place was a mess. Under the command of the academy's Takashi Hoshi, the district superintendent was using large machinery to deal with the aftermath. The tragic scene made Wang Lan and the others feel a little uncomfortable. These ultra beasts could turn into flowing liquid, so the whole area was full of this sticky substance with a strong stench. Are there any records of the opening of alternate dimensions in other places? We haven't received any reports yet. It can't be so coincidental. Wang Lan immediately said, "This is the demons killing people to silence them. This means that we're heading in the right direction, and this car repair shop should be the shop that helped them modify the bus. Quick, where's the shop owner?" Wang Lan quickly used the Heavenly Sword Bureau's authority to investigate and locked onto the shop owner's location. The shop owner lived in a residential area less than 3 kilometers away from the shop. Wang Lan and the others immediately rushed over, but it was too late when they opened the shop owner's door. The car repair shop owner's family was dead, and they didn't feel any pain when they died. Their faces still looked like they were sleeping peacefully. "Everyone, look around and see if you can find any clues." "Leader, would the demons leave any clues?" Yang Yang asked doubtfully. It was obvious that the demons had killed them. The scene was clean, and the demons had run away. How could there be any clues? "Don't tell anyone that you've followed me in the future." Wang Lan sighed and said to Yang Yang. Yang Yang was usually a very smart person. Why did he suddenly become stupid? "Captain, I think the team leader is looking for survivors of the auto repair shop. Aren't they all dead? Those who died are those who lived in the staff dormitory and the boss, but there are definitely those who didn't live in the company dormitory. Besides, even if all the current employees are dead, don't tell me none of them left?" Wang Lan said, while rummaging through the drawers. "I found it." Jiang Xinyu suddenly ran over and said, holding a contact list for employees. Wang Lan was overjoyed. He immediately took out his phone and scanned the photos. Under Xiao AI's processing, he quickly filtered out the employees who lived in Shanghai. There were a total of 7 employees. They either rented their own houses or had houses nearby. Wang Lan quickly ordered everyone to split up and go to the houses of several employees. Fortunately, Wang Lan could think so far ahead. The demons could not think of this. After the team split up, they found their respective targets very smoothly. If the demons had thought of this, they would have killed these employees immediately after killing the boss. Take out your documents, assist in the investigation, and take them away. After this process, the team members gathered together again half an hour later. "Uncle Guard, we're really good people. We didn't do anything bad. I have a proper job." "Really? You got the wrong people. I've already explained it 1,000 times. I'm asking you to assist in the investigation, not to arrest you. You're in danger now. I'm taking you away to protect you and your families from harm. I'm not educated. Don't lie to me. I'm a car mechanic. I do my job and never make enemies. Why would anyone want to harm me? Why would they want my family to die? That's right. We're all poor people. We earn 10,000 yuan a month. This amount of money can only feed one person and ensure that the whole family doesn't starve. You're all employees of a new city car repair department, right? Yes, but we don't accept dirty jobs. We don't accept cars of unknown origin. We don't change or sell them. This is the three-nose policy set by the boss. The boss of a new city car repair department and more than 100 employees living in the dormitory were all killed tonight. Crack! It was the crisp sound of a neck twisting. The few people in the car widened their eyes in unison. They blinked their mouths and did not make a sound for a long time. Is this real or fake? That's impossible, right? Do you think we picked you up from so far away just to joke with you? I'm sorry, we're very busy. The group returned to the Heavenly Soar Bureau. Just as they passed by the front desk, the intelligent AI receptionist at the front desk suddenly called out to Wang Lan. Colonel Wang Lan, this is a fax from the Bureau of Industry and Commerce. Bureau of Industry and Commerce? Why? Wang Lan took the fax with a puzzled expression. He brought the group back to the interrogation room. Faced with the situation, the few employees who were still in their pajamas suddenly became nervous and shivered. Is it very cold? Turn on the air conditioner to make it warmer. No, it's okay. I'm just a little nervous. Wang Lan did not waste any more time. He placed a photo of the bus in front of them. Do any of you remember this bus? It should have been modified in your car repair shop. It was about 5 years ago. I definitely don't remember. I've only been here for a year. I've only been here for 2 years. Old Jean, you've been here the longest. Do you remember anything? One of them asked a skinny middle-aged man. The middle-aged man frowned and fell in a deep thought. Sir, I think I have some recollection. The modified cars in our shop are usually family cars. Buses like this one are often repaired but not modified. But you said it was 5 years ago. I don't remember. I only remember a modification from 3 years ago. 3 years ago? Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. Because that batch of cars was too special. I remember it very clearly. That batch? More than one? Yes, a total of 9 cars. I don't remember the name of the boss. I only know something about you. Chun Feiyu? Yes, Chun Feiyu. Tell me in detail. Su Ting, take down the statement. About 3 years ago, a boss drove 9 buses and asked us to modify them. Those buses were all retired from the long-distance bus station. There was nothing wrong with them. It was just that they had been used for a long time and were a little old. But the boss was very generous. He changed all of them at once. From the engine to the transmission system, even the dashboard had to be changed completely. Including the reinforcement of the car skeleton, a modified car would cost at least $1 million. At that time, our boss quoted a price of $12 million for 9 cars. Who would have thought that the boss would fork out the money without hesitation? That boss opened a driving school. He modified the buses for students to use as instructors. The reinforcement of the car skeleton was also to withstand collisions. At that time, I was thinking which driving school would spend so much money. And then, did you deliver the cars to them, or did they come pick them up? We delivered them to them. Where did you send them? Wang Lan immediately became serious. Just send them to their driving school. Driving school? Located in Jioding? I think it's that place. It's Flying Feathers Driving School. That can't be right. Flying Feathers Driving School became a farm 5 years ago. How could you still see a driving school 3 years ago? But it really was a driving school at that time. I was one of the people who delivered the cars. Maybe I remember the place wrongly. Maybe we're not talking about the same place. Who else delivered the cars with you? Do you have their contact information? I do. There were a total of 10 people. Only 3 of them are still in the shop. The other 7 have left. I don't know if they're still in Magic City. After all, the pressure to survive in Magic City is too great. It's about 10,000 yuan a month. If I rent a third of the house and pay rent, through old Jean, Wang Lan successfully obtained the contact information of the other 5 people. 3 of them lived in the staff dormitory and should have died at the hands of exotic beasts. The other one changed his number and could not be found for the time being. While waiting for news, Wang Lan opened the fax from the Industry and Commerce Bureau. After taking a look, his expression became strange. That day, when he went to the farm and found out that the farm was controlling the pigs from the source, Wang Lan made a report. The Industry and Commerce Bureau was really efficient. There was a reply in just 2 days. However, the Flying Horse Farm did not buy at a low price and sell at high price. From the bank flow of the past few years, the Flying Horse Farm had spent a lot of money, but there were no inflows. The Industry and Commerce Bureau also investigated the pig farms Wang Lan mentioned and confirmed that the Flying Horse Farm had indeed bought a lot of pigs from them. Although the price of pork in Magic City was mainly due to the increase in prices, it had nothing to do with the Flying Horse Farm buying a lot of pigs. In the end, the conclusion was that although the Flying Horse Farm bought a lot of pigs, they did not sell them at high price. That meant that there was no profiteering. Naturally, it did not constitute a problem of destroying the industry. Wang Lan took a final look. The Flying Horse Farm had bought pigs for a shocking 7 to 800 million jade coins. Was the Flying Horse Farm that rich? There was a problem. There was definitely a problem. Leader, Yang returned to the interrogation room. The investigation is clear. It's confirmed that it was the Flying Feathers Driving School. One of them even learned driving at the Flying Feathers Driving School. There's no mistake. The Flying Feathers Driving School was still a driving school 3 years ago. So there's a problem with the Flying Horse Farm. All units, pay attention. Prepare to depart. The investigation team set off immediately and drove to the Flying Horse Farm again. At this moment, the Flying Horse Farm was completely silent. The guard room that was supposed to have a night watch was only lit up, but there was no one there. Something's wrong. Everyone, be careful. Wang Lan immediately felt that the atmosphere was abnormal. When he entered the Flying Horse Farm, the entire farm was silent and pitch black. Wang Lan, why don't we split up and investigate? Yu Ruiyan followed Wang Lan and asked. Wang Lan shook his head. No, the demon spies must know that we've already suspected them. They must be waiting for us. Suddenly, a flashlight shone. Who are you? What are you doing here? Are you thieves? Accompanied by a scolding voice, a black shadow strode towards them. Wang Lan narrowed his eyes slightly. Chapter 426. I didn't expect you to find this place so quickly. Bang! A hell butterfly suddenly appeared beside the Devil Ray spy and slapped the Devil Ray spy's chest. The hell butterfly activated its astral power and sealed the spy's astral power. If it was a year ago, Wang Lan would have needed to activate his phoenix form to fight the demon spy. However, a year later, Wang Lan could easily kill a galaxy-grade demon spy in his normal state. If the demon spy hadn't given him a try, he wouldn't have been able to sense the change. I haven't finished speaking. The demon spy was stunned. Why didn't this Celestial Sword Special Service follow the script? Didn't you guys not attack me when I was shooting my mouth off? Sure enough, the TV shows were all lies. We'll talk about the rest in the interrogation room. All of you, die here. The demon spy suddenly roared, and the astral power in his body suddenly went berserk. Wang Lan's expression changed, and he increased his astral power. Suppress him. Strangely, the harder Wang Lan tried to suppress him, the stronger the astral power rebounded. Boom! Wang Lan sent the demon's spy flying with his palm. The demon's spy instantly exploded and turned into a firework. Wang Lan, are you hurt? Jiang Xinyu asked anxiously. In her field of vision, the demon spy exploded in front of Wang Lan. When she got closer, she saw that Wang Lan's body was covered in a layer of ice armor. Could it be that the demon race has already improved a new technique to counter our sealing technique? Wang Lan, Yu Ruoyun suddenly said solemnly. We seem to be surrounded. There are quite a lot of them. At this time, Wang Lan had already sensed the movement underground. The ground trembled slightly, as if there were countless things moving underground and quickly approaching them. Transplanting technique. Yu Ruoyun raised her hand towards the sky, and countless wooden sticks stabbed into the ground like javelins. When the wooden sticks touched the ground, countless roots instantly grew out. The roots also had the same attacking effect as the datura flower, but this kind of attack was targeted at things underground. Roar! Roar! One figure after another emerged from the ground. They were about 2 meters tall and had sharp bone spikes all over their bodies. Some of the spikes even had a cold gleam to them. 5th-generation Bio-Fiend Soldier. Jiang Xinyu exclaimed in a low voice. Something's not right. Wang Lan quickly corrected him. I'm afraid it's not the fifth generation anymore. There's a difference in size. They've improved it again. All of a sudden, the biochemical fiend soldiers charged at the seven of them, moving as fast as the wind. The independent team instantly went up to meet them. The moment they made their move, it was a killing blow. The biochemical demon soldier was stronger than the average Takashi Hoshi. However, as the four members of the independent team, Yang was at the Nebula realm, while the others were at the peak of the Galaxy realm. In the face of such elite strength, the biochemical fiend soldiers were nothing. Team leader, these biochemical fiend soldiers are at the early stage of the Galaxy realm. Yang shouted anxiously. They've indeed been upgraded. Ruoyun, don't do anything. Since the biochemical fiend soldiers can be controlled, there must be demon generals hiding nearby. Be on guard against them, taking the opportunity to launch a sneak attack. Sinyu, let's go. As soon as Wang Lan finished speaking, his figure dispersed and turned into a deceit butterfly. The hell butterfly flashed and instantly appeared beside a dozen biochemical fiend soldiers. Almost at the same time, Wang Lan's figure flashed and slashed with his soul slasher. A dozen biochemical fiend soldiers were killed almost simultaneously. Jiang Sinyu's entire body was covered in ice armor, and two ice swords appeared in her hands. This was the ice warrior form that Jiang Sinyu had told him about. In this form, one could launch both close combat and elemental attacks. It was a Takashi Hoshi technique that was very suitable for the battlefield. Wang Lan quickly harvested the heads of the biochemical fiend soldiers while keeping an eye on Jiang Sinyu's side. Jiang Sinyu's strength had only reached the mid-stage of the Galaxy realm. In terms of strength, she was the weakest in the investigation team. Even Bai Su's strength was at the peak of the Galaxy realm. The biochemical fiend soldiers were fundamentally different from mutated beasts. The biochemical fiend soldiers were warriors created by the demons for battle, and their combat power was very strong. Therefore, even if Jiang Sinyu suppressed the biochemical fiend soldiers in terms of level, she could only defeat one biochemical fiend soldier in terms of strength. If she faced two at the same time, she would definitely lose. Just like now, except for Yang, the other three members of the independent team had fallen into a stalemate after facing the three biochemical fiend soldiers. Only Wang Lan's held Butterfly Dance and Soul Slasher seemed to be unstoppable as he rapidly harvested heads. This scene made Ruoyun feel a little unbearable. He wanted to join forces with Wang Lan and use the dragon and phoenix bringing prosperity. This would definitely end the battle in 3 seconds. If Wang Lan knew what Ruoyun was thinking, he would definitely reply, "Dream on." Jiang Sinyu was right beside him, and he was talking about the dragon and phoenix bringing prosperity. 1,000 biochemical fiend soldiers were like chopping melons and vegetables in the eyes of the great genius Wang. When the biochemical fiend soldiers first appeared, they did feel like there were a lot of them.